First, I wanted to ask the board to take an emergency vote to declare this a town hall so we could have an interactive discussion. Okay. So my name is Patrick Gorman. You guys have all read my long-winded emails. Tonight I'm on a time constraint, so I'll try to cover as much as possible in a short amount of time. And there's a lot to cover, more that can be addressed in 3 minutes or even in the time for this meeting. If any of you guys want to talk to me, I've put it in my emails. You guys are welcome to contact me anytime. Several emails, you have my contact information. I have some information. I'm going to be using information sourced from the Shasta County website, the ShastaEDC.org website, and the Survey of Current Businesses for Shasta County, published by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. Remarkably, it took me only 20 minutes to find this data, so it's readily available to everybody, including yourselves. Last year, the Shasta County budget was just shy of $500 million. So the state funding that we received, the $18 million, is about 3.6% of our annual county financial needs. In 2016, the countywide GDP was approximately $16 billion, and that's per the U.S. government. Economic forecasts from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis also showed continued economic contraction before this pandemic of our primarily service-based economy through 2033. We know that the service economy is the hardest hit sector of the economy in this pandemic shutdown. This also is the largest source of revenue for your government, sales of alcohol, food, lodging, etc. For the course of action taken by this board to make any sense at all, the economic impacts of your decisions would have to be revenue neutral. That does only impact our economic situation by 3.6%. And I think we could all predict with certainty that that's not the case, that it's going to be much greater. So let's just assume, for argument's sake, that the economic impact of these shutdowns only reduces countywide GDP by 3.6%. If that is the case, you just cost the residents of this county about $215 million from all of our pocketbooks. All right, not yours, ours. So my question in my last email to you was, is the juice worth the squeeze? Was the destruction of a minimum of $215 million in private wealth among your constituents in exchange for $18 million from the state worth it? That's a rhetorical question. You all know the answer. We all do. So you've sold us all out. We know this is not an economic catastrophe that will end overnight. The price tag of your decisions will compound year over year. The full extent of the suffering your continued course of action will cause is unquantifiable, and it's certain. You have us all here. There's hundreds of us out there. We're all trying to reason with you, but if you can't be reasoned with, then we're going to stop talking. Many people already have. They're no longer talking to you guys because you're not listening. I encourage everybody here to become independent. We produce raw economic inputs for the state, food, water, energy, someday soon. And what the board does not want to talk about right now, we're going to have fewer law enforcement officers to protect us, fewer firefighters to defend our communities, fewer teachers to help us educate our next generation. The less we rely on the government, the state government, the less leverage they're going to have in our lives. And the folks out there who are listening, I say the same to you. We need to rely on this government less so that they don't have leverage over us. Unfortunately, we never seem to see fewer bureaucrats and politicians when their decisions push our communities into crisis and catastrophe. It's quite ironic. It's extremely sad. Everyone here.
That's 3 minutes.
Okay, reopen Shasta County.
My name is Patty Plum. Are you ready to hear from me? Very good. First of all, I know in a town hall there is an opportunity to ask questions and receive answers. Is that possible tonight? If I had one question?
No, I'm sorry, it hasn't been noticed. This has been a regular meeting.
Got it.
It's been on the agenda for a whole year.
Okay, very good. And so for the record, I believe that the highest authority in our county is our sheriff, our constitutional sheriff, Eric McGreevy, who we're very fond of and very grateful for. I guess I wanted to understand, because he was not voted in, is there anything different about his authority? Because he was appointed rather than voted in? This is a question. And so I don't know if it can be answered tonight, but I just really was hoping to know that, because we have the utmost respect for him, and we just wanted to make that known. So I'm here to encourage all of you. I see some people I recognize, and I'm not here for any purpose to shame or to scold any of you, because I know that your jobs are very hard. And so I just wanted to appeal to you and your good hearts to do the right thing for our community. I know there's a lot of pressure with our tyrannical dictator. I can't even call him our governor, because he's not operating as our constitutional governor. So we don't recognize him, because he does not recognize our Constitution. So we don't recognize him. And we're asking you to do the same, to choose what's right for our community, for our families, for our children, and to say no to him. And some of his mandates that he thinks that he can put upon us and enforce these laws and the masks and closing of our businesses and not allowing our children to go to school, it's just not okay. So I just wanted to thank you for your service and all that you do. Is there a clock that I can watch at all for 3 minutes? Very good. Okay. So, Leonard, I want to thank you so much personally. I don't know you as well as I know your wife, Tracy, but I think you're pretty brilliant for choosing her, first of all. And also your son. We worked with him in juvenile hall, and he's amazing. And so with that, our hearts are for the young people that struggle with addictions. And so that led over to our time with Joe. And Joe had a program with trade skills and emancipation. And Joe, you know the success stories that came from there. And I just celebrate with you, sir, your courage to stand up and do the right thing for these people. So I believe with that, you have the courage to do the right thing in regards to our situation here as well. I saw your video with you with your mask on and doing the signs, and then your wife Debbie did the same thing, and it broke my heart, Joe, because I thought, I didn't know whether I should cry or throw up, honestly, because I believe that you're a better man than that you can stand up with courage and say no to this tyrannical chief and tell him that he's not in charge of our county, that our county is going to lead.
Ms. Plum, thank you so much. Please come back again.
Was it just 2 minutes?
It was 3.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
The sheriff has the same authority as any elected sheriff.
Thank you very much. That's good to know.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to come and speak. Many of you we know, and we appreciate all that you do. But we're here to say we're from New California, and New California State is going to be a state. And we're going to have to take a look at the finances of California. You guys need to really take a look at this, because you're believing a lie. Newsom has no money. He just exposed the fact that he doesn't have the $100 that Trump is asking everybody to put in. So you guys are blowing it. I know you're smart. You're very intelligent people. And we have a lot of, I have grievances here that we are reading and also sending to the president. There's 10 of them. I implore you. Thomas Paine in 1775, 1776 was writing about common sense. We always joke and say, gosh, it's not very common anymore, is it? But I would implore you to read the book if you haven't, and to think about common sense. It talked a lot about the fact that British rule thought that they could just heavy hand our founding fathers and our patriots. And I'm trying to represent, not only as a pastor, but also as a member of the community and the pastorate that's willing to lay down our life for our freedom. And many of you are the same, but you don't realize that you're letting freedom go away. Paul wrote in Galatians, he said it was for freedom that Christ set you free. So there is a big part of what we're asking. There are states that are still open, and you are listening to a liar, a cheat, and a tyrant. And his name is Gavin Newsom. He has a very short leash left to him. I'm not threatening him. I'm just stating the facts. I believe that he is a liar. He has no money. The king has no clothes. And it's time. We're getting calls every day from our legislature that says we have a tyrant that will not listen to, and that's old California people, that he's operating without listening to his legislature. They're sick of it. Am I through?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless each one of you, and I pray for wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Cassie Hale. Hello, thank you for your time this evening. I'm here tonight very troubled by how the Board of Supervisors are handling the COVID-19 issue. I'm concerned with how you are refusing to represent the people who are not afraid. Being born and raised in Shasta County, I have seen some fierce leaders come and go. This is not the case now. I have slowly watched our county go from a place I am so proud to live in into the same political trap that is taking over California. I am very disappointed. Why have you stopped representing those of us who do not live in fear? Your job is to speak up for us. Your job does not entail including your own agenda or your own personal fear. Is this about money? If it is, then that's really sad, because my Bible reads that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and that is found in 1 Timothy 6:10. If this job is too hard for you, which I'm concerned that it is, then maybe it's time for you to step down and allow someone without fear to take your place and begin representing us in Shasta County again. Open up Shasta County now. Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me talk. Okay. For years, our families have spilled their blood and died on battlefields fighting for freedom, including my husband that died in Vietnam. Never did we think the day would come when our own government would take away our freedom. Little kids that were traumatized by the fires are now re-traumatized by the fear of COVID, being told they won't be able to go back to school at a time when they need to see their friends and have assurance that everything is going to be okay. All of us went along with this in the beginning as we were told that the deadly virus had found its way here. Hospitals would be overwhelmed. Massive deaths would occur. We were told that we had to lock down in order to lower the curve. Then we found out every model used to instill that fear and surrender on our part were flawed. Now, rather than the death count, we're told that it's the number of positive cases. Deaths were the concern starting this and should be now. In some places, if someone falls out of a plane and tests positive for COVID, they would be a COVID death. But even with the misleading death counts, the numbers are falling. Also, how do you justify the uptick in deaths from suicide, increased domestic violence and child abuse, the untreated illnesses all due to COVID restrictions? You are playing God, and it needs to stop. The Constitution provides for equal treatment under the law. As such, all local businesses should be treated the same as the big box stores. There is no proof that the virus is spread more easily at the water park than the aquatic park. There is no proof that anyone has ever been infected at a Shasta County restaurant, bar, or hair salon. People have been gathering in big box stores this whole time, yet we don't see a big outbreak. The homeless population doesn't wear masks every day, nor do many of us, and we see no big uptick in deaths. If you're going to shut down businesses, then shut them all down or don't shut any down. We need you to step up and fight for the citizens, even if that means suing the governor over these regulations. We are tired of the silence and apathy on your part. All of you are drawing wages as public servants and are not having to sacrifice anything. You can afford private schools and tutors, and most people can't. This whole thing is dividing people by economic classes, and unfortunately, the ruling class, which is you, are not being hurt, and it biases all of your decisions. 86% of the deaths from COVID are in people on average 78 years old and in nursing homes. There is almost 0% chance of any of us dying from the disease. None of us here tonight live in nursing homes, nor do we conduct our businesses from nursing homes. So why are the policies being based on that demographic? Yes, we all want to protect the most vulnerable. I'm 67 years old. However, I do not want anyone in the county giving up their lives and missing milestones in order for me to have no risk. That's ridiculous. Never before in the history of this county have supervisors had the opportunity to do something truly historic and meaningful for citizens. All of you do. Please find the courage to stand against the overreach of the governor and stand instead for freedom of citizens to make their own choices. We need to fully open Shasta County back up for business and treat everyone equally as the law provides. Thank you. Sharon Smedley.
Thank you, Sharon.
And I hadn't planned on this, so I don't have anything, really nice and neat and tidy. But the thing is, I run Serenity House. It's a sober living home for women. And one of the problems that I'm having, and I wanted to discuss with you, is COVID testing. Because a lot of the women that are in my house, I have 11 women that live in my house. Most of them work. None of them can afford to make it without working. And if they're in a situation where they're exposed, then they get a 14-day quarantine. our testing for COVID testing is taking longer to get the results back than the quarantine is. So that's something that I think that you need to work with the health department with, because how can these people afford to be taking 14 days off? And we've already been quarantined 3 times in our home. And so that means every person in that home is quarantined. And so because they get exposed at work. We have people that work at banks, we have people that do in-home health care, McDonald's, and so it's really created quite a problem. So I think we need to do something in our county where we're doing faster testing, either, contract with other labs that can do it quicker or get better testing methods, because there are testing methods. I know when I went and got my COVID test, it only took me 3 days to get it back when I went to the college. That was spectacular. But then we've got so many people now testing, which I'm all for that, because the more people tested, the more our numbers are going to go down, because, we have to have the negatives and the positives the negatives have to offset the positives. So we need to really be putting that out there in our community more than we do, to tell people to go in and get tested. But it's hard to do that when it's taking so long and they're just overrun right now. So I'm hoping that maybe you can do something about that.
Could you leave your name and number somewhere, or Donnell, you're going to go talk to her, okay? We're going to take care of it. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, wait, there's one other thing, it's about the schools. Because my daughter is watching, she has 4 of her grandchildren that live with her, because her daughter is an addict. So they've been home now for 3 months. They're in the Enterprise School District. Enterprise School District, they started calling the kids, telling them, sending out things, getting them all excited they were going back to school. Then Enterprise School District does not go back to school. All the others, Reading School District's back. Why isn't Enterprise School District going back to school? And why aren't teachers considered essential workers, and why they should have been the whole entire time? And so that's something that needs to be dealt with, because why should the kids in Enterprise School District be punished because they're talking about insurance? Well, you know what? There can't be liability insurance, because you can't prove where this virus is ever transmitted or where it was caught. So that's just silliness. But one of my grandchildren, he's my great-grandson actually, he is a special needs child. So for my daughter to have 3 children, including a special needs, it's very difficult. And so what are these people supposed to do that don't have daycare, they don't have tutors, and she has to stay home with 4 children and try to educate them? It's impossible. It can't be done, and they're losing ground.
Thank you. I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Could you give us your name, please?
Yes, my name is Lisa Mashad. These are my children, and they wanted to come and show you their signs and ask you to please open up the county.
Please open up the county. My name's Allison.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Tyler Bertz. I was born and raised here in Shasta County. So, above the law of man, there is actually an unchanging law written on our hearts, that we should have no other gods before Yahweh, that mankind is to love God with all his heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love his neighbor as himself. These 2 commands are the greatest commandments and summarize all that God requires of you and me. This board has failed to love God and neighbor, the 2 greatest commandments. The first way is through the fear of man. First, you have cowered in fear to a lawless governor. Your cowardice is not standing up for the citizens of this county. God sees your fear and calls you to repent. Matthew 10:28 says, "Do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell." You need to trust God and do what is right instead of fearing the governor's retaliation. Next is the love of money instead of loving God. Matthew 6:24 reads, "No one can serve 2 masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other. You cannot serve both God and money." Your decision today will likely be influenced by the $18 million or the $100 per person that we are supposed to receive from the state. This lockdown has already cost individuals thousands of dollars to close the businesses, not to mention the schools. Will we be like Judas Iscariot and sell our freedoms and our souls for such a small price? Will you betray us and leave us captive in the hands of our oppressors over 30 shekels of silver? Which brings me to my last point. Proverbs 21:13 says, "Those who shut their ears to the cries of the poor will be ignored in your own time of need." Think about that. Let that sink in. Today, if you do not listen to the cries of the poor in Open Our County, then God won't listen to your cries either. Have you no fear of God? You may shout, well, what about grace? Well, grace is for those who humble themselves and repent. Otherwise, God does not hear your prayers. Think about that tonight. So Psalm 66:8 states, if I had cherished sin in my heart, the Lord would not have listened to me. Right now, you are cherishing sin in your heart by cowering in the fear of man, love of money more than loving God, and neglecting the rights of the poor. If you hold these sins in your heart and never repent, then God says he won't listen to you. Your prayers will fall on deaf ears, and you are possibly in danger of his judgments unless you repent. Your response should be, what should I do to be saved? Repent and believe the gospel, that you would lay down your rebellion and turn to Jesus, trusting completely in what he did on the cross to pay for your sins. You must transfer your trust in your own good works and trust in the righteousness of Christ as the only basis for your acceptance with God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Supervisors. I'm Dr. Paul Dhanuka. Thank you for the opportunity to address the meeting. To introduce myself, I have held several leadership positions in healthcare and local businesses over the last 15 years, giving me a unique window in the healthcare of our population's physical health, mental health, financial health, and social health. I'm going to address the problem we have right now, the principles to handle it, and the solutions. The problem is that our response to COVID is driven by an excessive fear, causing us to overreact, just shutting down the economy for 6 months, shrinking the GDP by 32%, and tripling the unemployment rate at the same time. With the closure of businesses, it affects the property owners, subsequently the lenders, and a domino effect the rest of the society. Psychological stresses are increasing, which we see as increased alcohol and drug abuse, as well as suicide rates. At the same time, civil unrest is a next fear possibility given the divisions and polarization our response is causing. What that means is international as well as internal conflicts, and all of these are much more likely to hurt the people who are already at risk: women, children, and poor. At the same time, the government outlay has increased by 2% in last quarter, and Wall Street has gone up 50%. Therefore, the people in power and the people in big businesses don't feel the same suffering as the people in the trenches feel, and they don't realize what suffering is causing. So, what do we do? To clarify, we need to remember a few principles. First, do no harm. Don't make the disease treatment worse than the disease itself. Second, it's impossible to make the risk zero. Pursuit of absolute safety will cause more risks and damage. Third, laws of diminishing return. If you take 1 aspirin, it kills your headache. If you take 10, it's going to kill you. Fourth, what works in a lab or in LA does not necessarily work in real life in Shasta County. So keeping that in mind, I would remind you that as Board of Supervisors, you are the most direct elected representatives for the people in Shasta County and our last line of defense. It is your authority as well as your duty to protect the people of Shasta County from the overreach of federal or state government dictates, which are damaging our economy and our society. So in order to restore the balance, I have a proposal to have 4 agenda items for you to consider and vote. First.
Okay, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry. Could you email those to us?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Just go ahead and email it to us, and we'll appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Doctor, I'd like to have it too. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I said thank you. I'd like to have a copy too.
Well, thank you.
Good evening. Could we have your name, please?
Yeah, Carlos Zapata. I wasn't going to speak. I was asked to speak here, Sheriff, good to see you. I'm telling you guys, I'm pretty appalled at what's going on. At first we sat as concerned citizens and we all wanted to figure out how to best navigate our way through this whole COVID thing, And as we realized that it's not quite as dangerous as we thought it'd be, I was absolutely appalled at the cowardice, And as you're sitting there with your masks on, I don't blame you for wearing masks because I'd be hiding my face too if I was you for what you're doing. This is absolutely horrendous what you're doing to these people. I'm a business owner, and I'm telling you, our families are starving. You guys can sit here with your jobs. You can sit here and you're going to get paid. You can fall asleep in your chair like that gentleman's doing behind his mask right there, okay? And I'm telling you right now we're being peaceful. And you better be happy that we're good citizens, that we're peaceful citizens. But it's not going to be peaceful much longer, okay? And this isn't a threat. I'm not a criminal. I've never been a criminal. But I'm telling you that good citizens are going to turn into real concerned and revolutionary citizens real soon. And nobody else is going to say that. I'm probably the only person that has the balls to say what I'm saying right now. That we're building, we're organizing, and we'll work with law enforcement or without law enforcement. But you won't stop us when time comes because our families are starving. And if you don't hear the seriousness of my voice, I hope you open your ears and you absolutely listen to what I'm saying. Because this is a warning for what's coming. It's not going to be peaceful much longer. It's not going to be rah-rah. It's not going to be speeches. It's not going to be gathering outside saying a Pledge of Allegiance. It's not going to be waving flags. It's going to be real. When you've seen the things that I've seen, I went to war for this country. I've seen the ugliest, dirtiest part of humanity. I've been in combat, and I never want to go back again. But I'm telling you what, I will to save this country. If it has to be against our own citizens, it will happen. And there's a million people like me, and you won't stop us. Open the county. Let our citizens do what they need to do. Let owners of businesses do what they need to do to feed their families. Take the masks off. Quit masking and muzzling your children. The psychological damage that you're doing to them is horrible. I've had 6 friends kill themselves since it's happened. Veterans who lost their jobs. How do you feel about being complicit in perpetuating that? The greatest hoax ever perpetuated on the American people, and you're a part of it by wearing your masks. In Shasta County, we're supposed to be red country up here. Not blue country, we're red country up here. You guys know that. You claim to be conservatives, maybe you're not, maybe you're liberals, I don't know. But by God, we're Americans, and remember that. Take your masks off, quit muzzling yourselves. Join us, fight with us against what's going on in Sacramento. It's a travesty. Thanks.
My name is Janet Chandler. I am from Bernie in eastern Shasta County. I'm here tonight to remind you that sometimes it's necessary for us, the employers, to remind our employees on the board what we expect of you. Your first and primary function, according to the Declaration of Independence, is to protect the rights of the people. As our representatives in Shasta County, it is your duty to protect those rights by interceding for us against the state of California when it attempts to deny us our constitutional rights and our legal rights. I'm sorry to tell you that you are failing miserably and you are receiving low ratings from your employment evaluation. The people out there are not happy with you. And if you conceive them from my position, you would know that. So we want you to start behaving as if you answer to us and not to Gavin Newsom, despite the fact that he makes monetary bribes to you to get his way. Have the courage to step out of line and do your job to support the opening of business in Shasta County. We are not asking for your permission because we already have our rights, our natural rights, given to us by our Creator. If you cannot act with the will of the people, then step aside and get out of our way. You have shown that you are not effective leaders, so at least you should show that you can be good followers.
Seth MacNeil. These are your people out here. These are your constituents, your peers, your equals. There's probably a couple hundred or more. You're not alone in this dilemma. You have us, you have each other. Even as individual board members, you're not alone. There are 5 of you, a team of elected officials chosen by the U.S. to be the leaders of this county, the protectors of our rights as citizens and of this great Shasta County. But you made a mistake. You took liberty with our liberty, and it was not yours to give. And tonight you see that the act did not go unnoticed among these citizens. You sold us out for money, or even just the idea of money, and it's not enough. No amount is enough to sell our freedom, and it never will be. It's priceless. That's not to say people have not paid for it in the past, because they have. Many people have paid dearly for our freedom and died, not to buy it, but to defend it. And you cast it aside flippantly like a fleeting thought without so much as a consideration as to what the people truly wanted. How do I know that you never thought about it? You never asked. Not once. Out of the 5 of you, it never occurred to openly ask the people of Shasta County what you could help them do during this time. You took it upon yourself to bear the full weight of these matters, and you made a mistake. You erred on the side of perceived safety and compliance to the larger government above you instead of liberty, and that's wrong. We know why you did it. We know you were scared. We know that the alternative seemed uncomfortable and too extreme. And I believe some of you even know in your heart it was wrong. We all have a conscience. We know it was wrong. But look at us now. No one thought it would ever go this far, but it has. But we forgive you, and there is power in forgiveness. The power to allow you to forgive yourselves and to go to work. Get uncomfortable. Fix the mess. Don't be compliant. Don't keep the masks on all of the faces of everybody here and all of the children going to school and covering up all this nonsense. It's a lie, it's a scam, it's a farce, and you are all in on it. And if you stand up for your freedom, you stand up for our rights, you stand up for the people of Shasta County and do what you're supposed to do and represent us, we will forgive you.
Good evening. My name is Bob Holsinger, and I thank you for the evening's meeting. Thank you. I'm going to talk to you tonight about the lesser magistrate doctrine. It's based upon a historic Christian document that's interposition and where one party steps into the gap, placing himself between an oppressor and their intended victim. This interposition can take the form of written, legal, or even physical intervention to stop the oppressor. The United States was founded as a Judeo-Christian principles and values as shown by the Declaration of Independence, where the phrase, all men are created equal, they are endowed by their Creator and with certain inalienable rights. The first sentence of the Paris Peace Treaty of 1783, where the United States was granted independence from Great Britain, says, in the name of the most holy and undivided Trinity, this is a distinctive Christian concept. And finally, as evident by the numerous government buildings and landmarks which are filled with statues, carvings, and documents, numerous of which represent and reference our Creator God. God has established 4 realms of government to which he delegates authority: self-government, family government, church government, and civil government, each with its own role, function, limits, and delegated authority. This authority is not autonomous or unconditional. It's God-given. And thus we have a duty to govern in accordance to his rule. Thus, if someone in authority makes laws or decrees contrary to God's law, they're in rebellion against God's rule. This evening I share with you the lesser magistrate doctrine. It was first formalized by the Christians in Germany in 1550 and brought to America before the American Declaration of Independence. The lesser magistrate doctrine is based upon historic Christian doctrine of interposition or intervention, where one party steps into the gap, placing themselves between the oppressor and their intended victim. The interposition can take the form of, like I said, written, legal, or even physical intervention. American founders established our nation based on true federalism, as they didn't want to congregate power in one person or a small group of persons. In federalism, there are multiple levels of government, multiple branches of each level. They did this because they held the Christian view of man as inherently evil and in need of a savior. All state, county, local magistrates take an oath to uphold the state constitution and the United States Constitution. They don't take an oath to be subservient to federal or state government, nor do they take an oath to blindly obey the authority above. Thus, when our state authorities become tyrannical, make mandates on policies that are in violation of our state and federal constitutional law, such as our First Amendment rights in Shasta County, our lower magistrates, you should not obey them. Rather, you should step between our state oppressor and our citizens to stop the evil. Each one of you look to us, our electors, for votes to get elected into your representative positions. As one of your employers, I demand you use your God-given authority to stop the state violations of our First Amendment rights and immediately reopen Shasta County churches, businesses, and schools. Thank you.
Brian McLaughlin. Thank you for allowing me this time to address the board this evening. My wife and I grew up in this community. We were married here. I've been raising our family here for 34 years. I'm very disappointed in the leadership of this community. We were told originally to shut down, to flatten the curve, and we complied, and there was no impact on our medical capacity. We even had a field hospital that was never used. Then the community reopened at various stages with still no impact on our medical capacity. Now we're back to being shut down because of our numbers have increased, but our hospitalizations are minimal. All the while we can go to Home Depot, Winco with hundreds of others, but can't go to church or dine indoors. Our children can't participate in the regular activities, and some of our children won't be going back to school, leaving many essential workers in a bind without childcare. Now we're all told to wear masks to save lives. We're not told what type of mask to wear or how to wear it, but just do it. It will save lives. All it takes is watching people before entering a store to realize what a farce it is. They dig their mask out of their pocket or purse and proceed to touch the shopping carts and other items without ever washing their hands. My point is that it is beyond enforcing these ridiculous mandates that are based on fear. This pandemic has gone long enough to look at the data and make wise decisions based off of those facts. This county is not in a state of emergency due to the virus. We are destroying many businesses out of fear. There are a lot of good people leaving the state due to the politics of this state. That doesn't mean our county has to follow the rest of the state. Please be the leaders you are supposed to be and look at the numbers and reopen this county. Thank you for allowing me this time. Now I'm going to read 3 items that Dr. Paul Dhanuka was unable to finish. Let the society, schools, businesses, and churches open with these reasonable and limited precautions immediately. Compensate the business persons affected by closure for their losses. Rego or forego and relieve the businesses and individuals of taxes or any fees payable to the county in proportion to the period they have been forced to shut down. And number 4 is advocate with the state government to follow the above measures for our county. Those last 4 items were from Dr. Paul Dhanuka.
Good evening. My name is Ona Cranfield. I live in Anderson. I'd like to begin by thanking you for having this evening so that we can have our voices heard. I appreciate you listening to all of us that are coming with different viewpoints, and may what we say help you make the decisions that are best for the whole county. I appreciate you. I want to start with that. I am a retired school teacher. I had the privilege for a number of years of teaching the United States Constitution to my 7th and 8th grade students. One of the assignments they had every week was to find a current event and then find out how that current event is, how it shows the United States Constitution in action in our daily lives. And because of doing that, teaching them how to go back and forth in the Constitution to find that, I've learned a lot about our Constitution. Teachers usually learn more than their students. And I am concerned about the steps that are being taken that are not in alignment with what our Constitution says we have as our rights. I also am concerned, as for myself personally, as an older citizen who lives in a home that's so small I don't even have a kitchen. The longer this is shut down, the more difficult it has become for me to be able to get food. I can't go to a restaurant and eat. Fast food places, the lines are horrendous, and it's made it very personally difficult for me to be shut in, as well as to be isolated from friends and family. And I also have family members, 3 of them, who own their own small businesses, and they are suffering greatly because of the hindrances that have been put on them to operate their business. So I'm asking that you would consider the needs of the citizens, the residents who live in Shasta County, rather than necessarily the needs of other parts of the state. Shasta County is unique. It is not having the same kinds of numbers that are happening in other counties. And so I'm just, with great regard, trying to ask you, please to consider the needs of the people who live here. There are many and varied.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for hearing me. I appreciate you.
Hello, I'm Venus, and I'm a taxpayer and a parent in Shasta County, and I am also an American. So I'm here to express some of my concerns for our community. First, I'd like to mention releasing prisoners into our community. We already have such a problem with the revolving doors of the jail that our crime has gone up significantly. Now the criminals have no repercussions for theft or burglary. Now the ones convicted and sentenced, which is difficult enough in and of itself to hold these criminals accountable anymore with the lenient laws in their favor, now even they are being released back into our communities. I'm pretty sure there are other measures that could be implemented to keep our citizens safer, and our governor and you all think mandating masks are the answer for all of this, to go about our lives and to keep us safe. Then why is that not the answer being implemented in the jails and the prisons? We are told to listen to science. Would that be the flip-flopping doctors and their contradicting advice and guidelines, or by the organization that we have defunded and shown that it is biased to China on many accounts? Or can I have the choice to listen to practicing doctors and physicians from all over that came forward with facts, science, and proven positive methods dealing with patients involving hydrochloroquine and how it can be used and taken as a preventative and help lessen the symptoms and help them to recover? Oh, and by the way, this drug has also been safely used for well over 60 years. And in some countries is even sold over the counter and in the vitamin section. There are many doctors with America Frontline Doctors, such as Dr. Simone Gold, Dr. Stella Emanuel, and even Dr. Proctor from McKinney Family Medical Practice in Texas. He also has a petition at We the People to request an executive order granting hydrochloroquine for COVID-19 prophylaxis. The sooner our doctors and physicians feel safe from retaliation and persecution from the medical and pharmaceutical boards to prescribe to their patients what they are feeling that make a difference, the sooner we can all have a healthier and stronger without this unhealthy mask regulation BS. Which brings me to the mask mandate for my children to return to school. I do not want my children being forced to go to school in a mask and keep their dirty, germ, and mold-infested mask on for hours on end. That in and of itself will cause additional health issues on top of COVID for our children. Masks should be suggested and not mandatory. Please try to remember that we are Americans and should have the right to choose. Lastly, open up our churches and communities. If we can shop, we can worship. If we can shop, we can vote in person. By the way, Trump 2020. And let your very able-bodied community open back up before you destroy our community for good. Thank you for your time, and I hope you listen to the people that are all waiting out here that want you to listen and open our community back up. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
My name is Donny Ferguson. Steve Morgan. I'd like to pass out a couple of these pieces of paper regarding, I'm not speaking about what you guys are talking about here tonight. Eric, this is a way to rebuild the park, to address homeless issues. I was here in January, voice was out. I got 35 days left on a 1,460-day little program, and then I'll be back to discuss some of the chicanery that took place in that mess. It was wrong. But currently, I have a program that you guys should look at on how to build a park facility. It will address homeless issue. It's going to reduce government spending. It's going to take and put a little bit of the government back into the hands of the people. It's going to create a little bit better camaraderie between the people and the government at this point in time. It's not going to be the panacea, but it sure is going to go an awful long ways as we're approaching uncharted waters at this point in time in our life. It's pretty simple. Every city in the nation has a park. Every city in the nation has a homeless issue now. I have a way to help address some of those needs. Right now we look at defunding the law enforcement or other agencies which will follow in suit. You'll see that coming up. Maybe we should look at using a different terminology, like reappropriating some funds. And I can help out with some of the stuff that's happened in recent past out there in the city of Shasta Lake that I say, wait a minute, I tried to address this and nothing was done. And I've been told, where are we going to get the money to do this program at, Donnie? Well, I'm ready to help you out with some of that. And it really will go a long ways. I call it Citizen Village. Back in 2005 when I tried to get it off the ground, I called it Child Vision. The simplicity approach of that is what we're doing with our children these days. You take two kids, 3 to 5 years of age. One has a computer in their hand, desensitizing to violence as they grow, getting awards for mashing, maiming, mutilating. The other child, you have a tomato seed in his hand. You teach him how to propagate it. He gets to learn about dirt, entomology, how to take care of something. He's learning how to nurture something. And all I'm suggesting is consider the two as they grow older. And in the heart, what you're going to be dealing with later on in life. And one child's learning the whole complete cycle of life, nutrition, learning how to take care of things and seeing the proper end result of something. Whereas the other one, he's pretty complacent to the needs of anybody else. And he's desensitized to violence. And that's what we are basically dealing with in this culture. And we learn through knowledge that you are what you eat. And there's much involved. So I don't know who I'm supposed to hand these to. Apparently I'm supposed to have 10 copies. I have 3. It's an escutcheon for a park design concept. And if you look at it, health and safety, Eric McGreeny, and you guys are involved with that. Community, that's me. Education, we all need that. And in parks and recreation, they're involved too, because each city has a park. And right now we have them gated up so nobody can go to them. We put a lot of water to water lawns. Maybe perhaps we can readdress that watering issue to a more lucrative and profitable usage. I can teach you guys how we can create a lot more food and can feed the masses. We should be allowed, each and every one of us, to go to a park, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and get a free meal if we choose, military type style.
Mr. Ferguson, could you just leave those or right there on the floor? We'll get someone to pick it up.
And please choose to endeavor to just look at it and consider it. And
thank you.
the lines inside are programs that we get to create.
Hi, I'm Angelina Bonadelli.
Go ahead.
I'm here to tell you why I'm not fond of the mask rule.
Speak into the microphone.
The masks cause more medical issues than they do help us. It was proven that the dust from drywall goes through the mask, so how is it going to prevent us from minuscule germs? People with asthma get hyperventilated wearing masks. Also, the manufacturer of the masks made gaps at the edges so the virus can still get in through the edges. Homemade masks are even worse because you don't know how many places the mask had been before getting washed. Also, the buildup in bacteria in the masks can cause mold to grow, so in turn you're breathing in mold and unhealthy substances, which can cause infections in the internal system. That is why I'm not very fond of the mask rule.
I wanted to say that this is the first meeting I've been to, and I was hopeful. I was very hopeful to come in here and see something different than what I've been told, but unfortunately my impression of what's going on here is worse. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I pay my taxes. I'm a good citizen. I pour into the community. And to even be cordoned off right here like I'm a dangerous criminal, that's not even good enough to approach and make eye contact and for you to see what's in my eyes and hear what's in my voice. That speaks volumes about how you feel about the citizens. Actions speak louder than words. I really hope, but I doubt, unfortunately, that this will go very far with each one of you and your hearts. It's a real problem that this is even here. I want you to see my eyes. I want you to hear my voice. The seriousness of decisions that you guys are making affects every single citizen right now. My 5-year-old, my 8-year-old, my husband, who serves the community very well and has for 21 years. I know you guys have been beaten down. I'm sure you guys have been called names. I'm not going to go that route. But for respect to happen, you must treat the people with respect. This is not about votes for us. If you want to make a difference, and if you guys want to get reelected, because let's face it, that's what most people are saying about you guys. People are saying that this is all you guys care about is votes. Do you guys walk past the people on the street and say, gosh, wonder what they're doing? I wonder how my decisions are affecting them. $18 million is nothing compared to the hearts that are coming before you today, taking their time away from their families. You're taking away money from businesses. Do you realize you have a moment in time to change the trajectory of this county? Especially you. You're not even making eye contact with me, sir. You're not even looking at me. You're not even giving me the respect of looking my direction. Very sad. You have a moment 1 moment to change everything. If you want to see a change right now, if you want people to get behind you, I would implore you to get away from those desks. Come out here and stand on this and say, we want to hear what you have to say. Come shake my hand. Let me look in the whites of your eyes. If you want to make a difference in the positions that you're in, move the desks aside, come outside and look at the people. Shake our hands. We're not sick. We're not criminals. But if you make the wrong decisions here for too long, you will make the most law-abiding citizens into criminals, and you do not want to do that because we're the smart ones. You're welcome. We're the smart ones. We're the good ones that you want on your side. And we want to be on your side, but we can't get behind you if you don't let us.
My name is Caleb Steinberg. I'm 12 years old, and you may remember me from the last board meeting.
I do.
But I'm here to recite a poem called It's Just a Mask by Forrest Merity. It's just a mask, it's just 2 weeks. It's just non-essential businesses. It's just to keep from overwhelming the hospitals. It's just until cases go down more. It's just to keep others from being scared. It's just a few more weeks. It's just communion or singing. You can still meet. It's just until we get a vaccine. It's just a few side effects. It's just a bracelet. It's just to let people know you're safe to be around. It's just an app. It's just to let others know who you've been in contact with. It's just a few more months. It's just a video. It's just an email account. It's just for protecting others from hate speech. It's just a few people. It's just a credit card company. You can use cash. It's just a few places that don't take cash. It's just a little chip. It's just for medical information and paying for things. It's just so you can travel. It's just so you can get your driver's license. It's just so you can vote. It's just a few more years. It's just a statue. It's just a song. It's just a few words. It's just a piece of paper. It's just a book. It's just a movie. It's just a flag. It's just a piece of cloth. It's just a blood test. It's just a scan. It's just a chip. It's just a clump of cells. It's just the bad people. It's just the undesirables. It's just the Jews. It's just the men. Just the Christians. It's just the people that don't think like we do. It's just, wait, it's not just a mask.
My name is Jim Randolph from Cottonwood. My father, Sergeant George Henry Randolph, was killed in a firefight on September 1st, 1950 in Korea. He died protecting his buddies from an assault by the communists on their position. He was Jewish. He died a Jewish hero. Others like him from the Revolutionary War on have died and suffered for this country's liberty. In 6 months, that liberty has been eliminated from our society, and I am furious about it. You guys, whether you realize it or not, if you continue this lockdown in Shasta County, you are complicit in this theft of our liberties. And you need to really take that to heart. Churches are not essential, yet marijuana sales and alcohol sales are essential. This is just insanity. Churches are essential because we meet together to worship the Lord God and learn His truth. You don't meet together to smoke marijuana and drink alcohol for any spiritual or good purpose. You need to lift this lockdown on the churches in Shasta County immediately. Immediately. I am surprised that the people in the U.S. and in this county have not pushed back in very serious ways against this tyranny, and it really is tyranny. You need to consider this, and you need to consider your place and your responsibility in this lockdown. You need to open it up. You need to search your heart, and you need to stop obeying people like Fauci and the so-called medical experts who are forcing this country into the disaster that we're headed for. People are suffering, their businesses are suffering, their lives are suffering, our students are suffering. Everyone in some level is suffering from this tyranny.
Good evening, my name is Jeff Lowe. And first of all, I really love this county, just love living here. So when I heard that the board of directors was going to write a letter to Governor Newsom, I was really thrilled. Thought they were going to take some bold action on behalf of the constituents, and that's not what happened. The letter starts off with blaming COVID-19 for creating the economic and health hardships of California. The economic hardships were caused by the government and not by COVID. Then your letter goes on to state that, hey, it's more difficult at the local level to enforce restrictions. Kind of at this point of this letter, I was getting the tone of it, that you're asking permission and you're not telling him what needs to be said. And that is that we've got to take charge of our own county. We've got our own health officials. We know what we're doing, and we know our numbers, and we're not stupid. Goes on to say that we need our citizens to voluntarily take ownership of their public duty. Well, that's exactly what everybody's doing here tonight. They're taking ownership and bringing it to you and letting you know. And I hope you're listening. Then we're asking the governor for some guidelines to make it easier to help enforce, engage, and educate our citizens. We're educated, we're smart, we read, we know what's going on. The information is out there. You want at least a capacity of 50% or better hospital beds. Let's see, we got 2 people in the hospital. 2. Our COVID risk alert level is at 3, high risk, which means many, including community spread, many cases, undetected cases, limit everyday activities to increase safety. That's next to the highest level of 4. The death rate of 10, we got 10. 2017, we had 50 deaths from the flu, nothing happened. 29 the next year, 13 the next year, 10 this year, and look what's happened. It's just a shame, and the destruction just has to stop. And I know fiduciary responsibilities to go after the money that's being offered is important. It's important to every government institution. I've been reading your forms, they're filled out beautifully, but it's really not always about the money. You're killing the city.
Lowe. Appreciate it.
My name is Joseph Lockwood. I just want to thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to be here and share a few words. I also want you to know that at my church we pray for you guys every week, and really implore you to make churches essential and to allow me to keep feeding my family. I would ask you to consider or to think about if you had a business that you had spent 15 years building up, working hard, working 70 hours a week to make it prosperous, and then through no fault of your own, all of a sudden you lose it completely and you lose your entire way of life. And many of my friends are in that situation, trying to find a way to feed their families during this time. So I would implore you to open the county.
I'm Joanna, and I would like you to please open up the county. I don't like wearing masks. They make me feel sick.
My name is Brenda Luce, and I own San Francisco Deli. Okay. As a business owner that is open for dine-in, I will say that we have been contacted by Health Department, Police Department, and the ABC. The calls were all generated by a complaint. Every one of these departments have been professional, respectful, all chose to educate, not threaten or intimidate. We took all of these calls seriously. Our employees all wear masks. We have asked that our customers wear masks. Most do, some do not. We have removed 50% of our seating, washed our hands in a hand-free sink, soap dispenser, and towel dispenser. We offer takeout, delivery, curbside, and dine-in service. Our customers get to make the choice that works for them. The first time we were ordered to close for dine-in, we tried takeout and delivery. Only it did not work for us, so we laid off our 15 employees and locked our doors for over 2 months. to stop the financial bleeding. Many others did the same. Some never reopened. We applied and received a PPP loan. Many businesses were not so lucky. That money saved our restaurant and allowed us to reopen when we got the go-ahead. We reopened on June 23rd. On July 13th, the governor said effective immediately, we are going to close dine-in again. No warning, no consideration. After a lot of discussion, my husband and I decided to remain open, a terrifying decision. We weighed the risk and thought permanent closure or open and see what happens. I posted on my Facebook page that we were going to stay open for dine-in. I received a huge positive response. KRCR got wind of this and wanted to do an interview, which I did. That interview generated so much response, it received over 800 shares, 1,500 comments, and 3,000 views. Since then, these last few weeks, we have been overwhelmed with business. It was hard to keep up. I don't say this to brag. I just want you to know that the support we've had by staying open and what many are calling taking a stand, which was not my intent. I just wanted to keep my business afloat. California is 48th in being business friendly. 48th. Taxes, regulations, and more taxes. Normally, I would say my finances are my business, but I think it bears mentioning how much small businesses contribute to local and state funds. First, I employ 15 employees. No, not minimum wage. Payroll for a year can run $300,000 a year for us, give or take. Reading Utilities will get about $25,000 of our budget. Add fees to get our scales calibrated, fees for health permit, liquor license, property taxes, a business license. So far this year, we have collected over $15,000 in sales taxes, and we were closed for over 2 months. We are the people that donate to your Little League team, your church, every school function, organization, sports team imaginable, car fire victims, the mission, One Safe Place, Adopt a Family, and more. Shasta County has almost 190,000 residents. We have had 10 deaths. We have 3 hospitals in Redding. Currently, we have 1 patient in ICU and 2 in the hospital. Not wanting to seem insensitive, but how do those numbers justify all the damage that is being caused by tying the hands of businesses so they go deeper in debt or closing permanently? We are tired of carrying the load of a welfare state, tired of being told we can't open our business after doing what was asked of us, tired of early release prisoners roaming our neighborhoods and communities. 1 second. And tired of watching our rights being trampled on, so tired of the utter and complete hypocrisy of those making the rules. We are just tired of being tired. The damage of being shut down will be far-reaching and long-term. Thomas Jefferson once said, "Those who give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety." Please make the right decision and open up Shasta County.
Hello, my name is Monique Willeen, and I'd like to say hello to the fellow constituents outside. All right, so for this last week, I got a job. Woohoo! I work at Bigfoot Recycling, at a recycling kiosk. And today I had a conversation with an ICU nurse who happened to bring in her cans and plastics and stuff to turn in. And basically what she told me was that her ICU is actually quite slow, okay? I don't think you guys realize what this is doing to my son, Lincoln. In the last week and a half, 4 times I've been called by the schools, changing things. And every time I tell my son he's gonna go to school on Tuesday, he's gonna go to school on Wednesday. No, I'm sorry, Mommy didn't tell you the truth. You're gonna go to school on Friday. I am breaking my vector man's heart. Today is August 11th, my son's birthday. And because I feel so compelled to support reopening Shasta, that I thought I'd come and spend my 3 minutes here talking, because it's extremely important, Mrs. Rickert, that you understand. When you closed down the county, you broke my heart. Every time I've come in here and shared with you guys, it was like I was trying to heal myself because I knew what I was going to do in my future. And I couldn't find help out there because nobody wants to listen to me. So I made you listen to me. And every Tuesday when I come in here, I've asked for a navigation center, a life center, and I've got nothing. And now we've got this pandemic. AB 109 is still an issue. Prop 47 is still an issue. Prop 57 is an issue. Mrs. Rickert, I need you to understand that right now there's a ton of people out there who need this county open, and I don't know who has your ear and is telling you to keep it closed. And if you're afraid, you are putting your fear on me, and I'm putting that fear on my child. And in 10 years, he's going to be 22 years old. And if we affect the children like I'm afraid we are affecting them, then 10 years, 20 years from now, my kid is going to be an issue to deal with. And I'm trying to halt it with everything in me. So every Tuesday since September 19th, I've come in here and tried to voice, please help me, because I've got no one to help me speak my voice. But look what I've got out here. There's like 2,000 people that want this county open. And the last time when you closed this place and I couldn't speak my piece, I had to resolve in my mind my own mental health issues, because when I share, I feel better about life. Okay? So I'm asking you, please, you've taken on the responsibility, which means an ability to respond to the need. Your constituents need you, Mary. I need you, please, to open up the county and stop being afraid, because the burden you're passing on right now, it's a trickle effect. And my son is directly being impacted. And don't think I won't say my piece. And I thank you very much for your time. Have a lovely day.
What's your name?
Lynette Helly. Okay, good evening. This is my very first time being here, standing up, trying to make a difference. You see, it is difficult for me as I am personally affected with all this COVID mess. I am affected because my 36-year-old son, who is on hospice, and while in the hospital, only his wife could go see him. Because of this roped-off COVID area at local stores, my 93-year-old dad tripped and fell, broke his hip, and is now in skilled nursing. And my husband can't work either because of the restrictions. I take it personally, as this affects everyone in our family. I always believed if the risk outweighs the gain, you take the right action. But I'm sorry, I think this COVID mess is not for the saving of lives anymore. It is an overreach of the government, the state, and the county. The science is no longer there. With a 99% recovery rate, where is the risk versus long-term permanent damage on families when this flu is no different than any other flu we have ever had? The small businesses trying to support their families, restaurants, doctor's office, hospitals, people that needed surgery but didn't. Suicide up 400%, domestic violence up. Yet the low rate of death supersedes all of this. Makes no sense at all. The only thing driving up the new cases, in my opinion now, is the testing, which is an antibody test. You can test positive if you've ever had a cold, past flu, or even a flu vaccine that came from the same line as the COVID virus. So when a person tests positive with no symptoms, asymptomatic, he is treated like he has COVID-19 when he does not. If you don't have symptoms, how do you pass something on? You don't. You have mandates with restrictions that just stir the pot for more fear, for a treatable virus using the right medicine. Or better yet, build up your own immune system and don't get any virus at all. I have not had the flu for over 20 years. Vitamin D3, vitamin C, and zinc, and you wouldn't have to worry about any of this. To have a real pandemic, per the definition of a disaster for a state, you need to have 1/3 more deaths than a previous year's death of the flu. We don't have that. We had a flu that was built up way out of proportion to inflict fear, and it worked. Now you have the chance to make a difference. Open Shasta County up, period. Schools, businesses, churches, hospitals, everyone back to normal now. States that do not have all these mandates have no difference in results. So why all the restrictions and fear? I will believe we have a pandemic when we are not picking up homeless bodies with a forklift. The homeless do not wear masks. They don't social distance. They don't wash their hands and still healthy. Why? We had rodeos, worship singing under the bridge.
Okay.
Done?
3 minutes, I'm sorry.
Okay, I had one more sentence.
Okay.
I encourage you to make a decision that will stop this insanity and save lives from despair and the financial ruin for years to come. Thank you very much.
My name is Robin Dunham. I'm from Cottonwood. Thank you for the opportunity to address you. I am the mom of a developmentally disabled young man. He lives in a group home. His day program has been closed because of these state orders. My son has been diagnosed with schizophrenia previous to this. His delusional behavior has been increasing. He has become depressed, and he has even been talking about not seeing any purpose in life and being afraid to die, but being afraid to live. His day program is slated to open with some very well thought out, very carefully designed safeguards on August 26th. The people who are running the day program have given him the opportunity to come in and water the plants just out of the kindness of their heart, one time a week. It's one of the few outings he has that he looks forward to. If you pass this measure and we have a county shutdown, my son will have no opportunity to go to this day program, nor will the other persons who participate in it. This day program is planning on having no more than 4 people inside at any one time, at tables that are well spaced, wearing masks, with staff that are wearing masks, with hand sanitizer, hand washing, sterilizing all surfaces. Outings in public places, outdoors, to minimize the amount of contact. And why does this need to stop? Because of a state stay-at-home order that is not well thought out, that is one size fits all, and that has nothing to do with the well-being of the citizenry. I urge you to turn this down.
I just have a brief statement. I'm a proponent to open up the county. I think in this day and age, we have a lot of rights. We have the right to choose our own identity. We have the right to die now in California. We have the right to have an abortion, peacefully protest, have as many children as we want, marry who we want. The issue I have with the county being shut down is that I just never thought I'd see it this day and age, that we would have our right of liberty and prosperity taken away from us, our right to provide, to have a job, to take care of our families, our children, each other. With such a small percentage of risk, I don't feel that it's worth it. And forgive me if I'm misunderstanding, but if we are concerned about the money that we get from the state, if you're kind of tracking what's happening, there isn't going to be any money. There aren't going to be any businesses. There aren't going to be people paying taxes. There's not going to be enough money. So I don't know why somebody's got to do something. Come up with a way to live with the virus. People need to work. They're going crazy. It's destroying businesses, lives, families, and it's been too long, too. You can do this for some time, and to be frank, I only know one person who's had COVID. I was scared in the beginning of this pandemic based upon the science and what's going on. I have a science background. I also feel like the science doesn't support what we're doing, not in the state. And if it is that bad, we are 5 months into this. This state is failing us in terms of unemployment. They've had plenty of time to get their crap together, and it hasn't happened. And we have time too to prepare our hospitals and stuff. We have to do better. And I know a lot of people don't have to worry about it, so maybe it doesn't touch home for them, but you have to put yourselves in their shoes. I'm a mother. The thing that I'm having the hardest time with at school, and I know you guys have heard a ton about it, we were never intended to be home and be pussies. That's just, sorry to be frank, but that's how I feel about it. We live. You get told you're going to die, you want to go out and go do stuff. We need to live. So, and I don't feel like the science supports it, and I follow the data for closed cases because I know that's how you follow data. It's 4%. That is such a small risk with what's happening in our community and statewide. In my opinion, it isn't worth it. And I'd like to ask this board, and I apologize if I'm not in the know about this, but I think that our board should be reaching out to other boards in different counties, creating a coalition and getting together. because you got to take a stand together. And people, we need you as our leaders to guide that. And I'm all for, if you ever need a volunteer, I will help, provide, do whatever you need to get support.
Hi, my name is Mark Van Denen. And first of all, I just wanted to thank each of the supervisors for your service to Shasta County. I know none of you thought you'd be sitting here today in the midst of a global pandemic, having to hear everybody complain. And on behalf of my fellow citizens, I want to apologize for anybody that's attacked your character or your motives. I don't believe any single one of you is up here trying to cause trouble for the people of this county. At the same time, you've been elected to represent us, and most of us feel pretty powerless in the face of our state government right now. And so we are asking and imploring you to do the hard thing and make some decisions that maybe go directly in the face of what you're being told from authorities above you. You're the only ones that can do that on our behalf. Likewise, in this kind of historic moment, most people are succumbing to fear, and whether it's a school board or a county board or a city or a mayor, whoever, each one is looking to the other to see what they'll do. That tends to be, as in the case with the local school boards, whichever one closes first, the rest are soon to follow. Nobody wants to be the one to lead to do the hard thing. And so I'm imploring you on behalf of my fellow citizens in Shasta County to say no to the state government and to do something different and watch as other communities and counties follow you, because they will. They're ready. I am a father of 5. I am a foster parent locally. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I volunteer in a number of different ways. And my main concern in the community is the young people right now. Even in the California Public Health Department's guidelines that have been issued, they recognize in their most recent publication, I think it was the 4th of this month, that all of the available data, all of it that's out there, suggests that children, especially younger children, are very minimally impacted by this disease and very rarely, if ever, spread it. So the fact that we are quarantining our kids and preventing them from engaging in the extracurricular activities and the other things that bring them life and joy and life experiences and things that cause them to grow and develop is detrimental to their well-being as well as to the future of our county. We need leadership from you guys to put an end to that. Likewise, at the high school and junior high levels, relative to sports, the CIF Northern Division has been recognized as being a little bit different than the rest of the state. That's what we're imploring from you guys, just to say, hey, we're different than the rest of the state, so we're going to act differently. The Mountain Valley League, for instance, all the coaches have gotten together. They have a way they think they can move forward. The National Football League, the National Basketball Association, Major League Baseball, they've all figured it out, and they are supposedly more at risk than our kids. So why are we prohibiting our children from engaging in the things that bring them life and health?
This is Jovi Gwen. She's 4, and she has something she'd like to say. Go for it. She has 3 minutes, right, to figure it out. Is that okay? Okay.
It's okay. You can talk to me.
Go for it. What do you want to say?
Please say it. Just whisper.
Whisper. Say it.
Are you nervous?
I usually can get them to talk.
Take your hand out of your mouth. You have just a few minutes. Say it.
How old are you, Judy?
4.
4. See, you can talk. Can you keep talking?
Can you say it?
Say it.
You want Deacon to go instead?
You want Deacon to go? Okay. Go ahead, Deacon.
My name is Deacon, and I am 8 years old. And I thought that this was a home of the free, not home of COVID.
Is there anything else you want to say besides that?
No, Danny. You ready? Danny.
Go ahead, Darby.
Now she's ready.
You ready, Darby?
No,
You ready?
she said she's ready.
Okay, here, let Joby go. Come here. Okay, go for it.
You got another minute before you say it.
I'm 4, and I want to go back to school.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, say it.
Go. Is y'all guys beautiful?
You guys are beautiful.
You're beautiful too.
My name is Darby. I am 9. I was a student at Boulder Creek, but because of coronavirus, I had to transfer schools. When I wear a mask, I can barely breathe. I hate corona for so many reasons, like not getting to see my friends. This is not what I want to grow up with. Thank you for working hard to secure my future.
Thank you. So good. Darby, you can come over here, sweetie.
My name is Deborah Mays, and I am a mother of 4, as you can see, and my husband and I run a tech business in Redding, and I live downtown. I was born and raised in England and have lived in Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, and Illinois. I live in Redding by choice because I love Redding. I love how long the summers are. I love that we can drive to and away from snow in the winter. I love that Redding has a good mix of conservative and liberal values in comparison to the South. I love that it only rains for a few months out of the year, and I love that we're only an hour away from the mountains and a few hours away from the beach. Our business was lucky to make it through the shutdown for the COVID pandemic. With the help of the PPP loan, we have been able to help businesses that are in need of an online platform during this time. On April 15th, 2020, there was a document released that predicted infections for Shasta County as follows. Best case, 3,602 infected, that's 2%. Worst case, 77,434, 43% infected. As of yesterday, we stand at current cases 469, and that is 0.002% of people. As you can see, we are way below the estimated numbers, and that's even with most of our county refusing to comply with the current mask mandates. As the numbers stand, it makes no sense to deny our children the opportunity to return to school and our businesses return back to running normally. Our business made it through the COVID shutdowns, but many Shasta County businesses, like our favorites, Moonstone and Rita's, but now that our 4 children are not able to return to school, we are having to pay $20,000 a year to send them to a private school that will allow them to return full-time. We cannot just not run our business and stay home with them because of the school closures. Today, when my children were watching the movie Transformers, I heard these words that resonated within my soul. Megatron was trying to destroy Earth, and he said the humans deserve to die. And Optimus Prime responded, no, they have the choice to live. There is an agenda trying to alter the fabric of American families, and we should not be hindered from living the lives that we feel we should live. I believe that looking at our Shasta County numbers, each citizen should be given the choice to decide whether or not to wear a mask, whether or not to quarantine, and whether or not to have their kids attend school. There should be an option to sign a waiver in order to attend school without masks, just like they did with Redding Rec over the summer. Let's make Shasta County an example of what's possible, a community of people that supports each other not through isolation or distance, but through giving each other the freedom to choose, something that this country was founded on, which I find kind of strange reminding you of since I'm from England. But to choose the life that they want to live, to take their health into their own hands, support other businesses, and the ability to support those who need to be in quarantine with deliveries and meals. A county that rallies together to grow our economy and community despite all odds.
Hey guys, my name is Gabriel Mays. I'm a local business owner here in Redding, obviously the father of 4 and 15 years married this weekend, right? Not too bad. This weekend, I'd love to take my wife to Napa for a trip to celebrate our 15, but I'm not afforded that opportunity. I'd like to put my kids in school. I can't do that right now. To try to ask me to be at home, since my wife is going to school this next year, with my 4 kids who are in 4 different grades, to sit in front of a computer screen for 4 hours a day, doing distance learning is a detriment to me and my family. And you guys don't have the right to take that away from me. You have the responsibility to partner with me in raising my family in this great country called America. That's your responsibility. So I wanted to come here tonight and look the people that are responsible for making these decisions in the face and in the eyes and politely tell you to stop. Get out of my way. You guys don't have the right to get in the way of me taking care of my family. It is costing me $20,000 to put them in a different school so that I can continue running my business. Do you guys have $20,000 to spend on school? Probably not. But the decisions that we're making are impacting families just like this. And I have the right and the responsibility to teach my children that they have a voice in this great country to come and say, you're beautiful because you are. And you guys can do the hard thing. Think about what it took to get you to where you are right now in that seat. You worked hard to get to where you are. So work hard on our behalf to help us get to where we want to be. Let us partner with you. One lady earlier tonight said, you guys have not been asking us questions on what we can do. I read a letter out there tonight that was sent to Governor Newsom that you're partnering with local businesses and the City of Council or the Chamber of Commerce. As a local business owner, I haven't gotten one letter, one email, one word of concern about my contribution to the City of Redding. We own a house in downtown that we just remodeled, and we're partnering to make this community better. Open the schools, open the churches, take off your masks, and do the right thing. Thank you guys for the opportunity tonight. Good luck. Okay. You guys ready?
Hi there. Can you state your name?
I'm Landon, and this is John, and we're from Millville School.
Oh, hi.
And we would like no masks, and we'd like to be in one big class so we could be with all of our friends.
We'd also like to play sports to get outside activity and just have fun.
Thank you both for coming by. We enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
My name is Beth Watt. I work in Shasta County. I'm a paramedic. I fly on the helicopter. I see sick people all the time. I've been doing it in Shasta County for 26 years. I also am a mom of 3 children that go to school in 2 different schools in Shasta. I also am president of Palisadro Soccer. And I also teach extremely throughout the county for county fire. I teach for in Sacramento. I just flew back from Texas. I was a paramedic instructor up at College of the Siskiyous for 20 years. So I think I have a good understanding of a lot of the issues that are going on. I'm severely disappointed that my kids are not able to go to school 5 days a week. There are some schools in Shasta County that are able to go to school. I can't imagine, as I look at our country falling farther and farther behind, that we are not encouraging our children to be in school. I think it is perfectly safe. I go to work. I understand I'm in healthcare. I understand the people that go to Walmart go to work. The people that go to Holiday go to work. They are dealing with money and people all the time, and it is safe for them. Why is it not safe for my children to go to school where we put in different measures to keep them safe? It is absolutely insane to isolate my children, to not educate them. Until this pandemic hit, we are giving out awards to be there for perfect attendance, and now it doesn't matter. And it is extremely disturbing to me as I look around in my profession. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the COVID strikes. I am the one there. Then they are short of breath out in the field, and I am the one there taking them from hospital to hospital because they're sick. And you know what I'm taking in? I'm taking in the stroke patients that are extremely obese, and they are hypertensive, and they have type 2. I'm taking in the heart attack patients who are dropping dead. I can tell you I had 2 last week that were heart attack victims. But McDonald's is open, and In-N-Out is open, and that is where our health crisis is in the United States. It is not COVID, and I am so disappointed that we have jumped on this bandwagon, but we haven't jumped on it universally either. Some schools can be open and some can't. The aquatic center can be open, but Waterworks can't. When I got the notice that Waterworks had to close, it was because of county health, and it was supposed to close in, they let this announcement, we're closing in 5 days. Well, if it is such a county health problem that it is jeopardizing my health and you consider it so terrible, why on earth was it allowed to stay open 5 more days or 6 more days before it had to close if it was in such a jeopardy of killing me and my children? I should have a choice as to what I do and where I go and whether or not I wear masks. If I want to go out to eat, I should be allowed to go out to eat and sit at the restaurant. If I am scared for my health, I will stay home. People need to have that choice. My children need to go and be educated. They need to be with their friends. Those 2 boys were dying to come in here and tell you that they want to be together, and it is not okay that we are keeping them separated.
Hi there.
Hi.
And your name, please?
Carrie Robinhood.
Thank you, Board of Supervisors, for allowing me to speak. 5 days ago, Shasta County Health and Human Services posted a very disturbing video with all Shasta County Superior Court judges in uniform wearing masks and suggesting that those who do not wear masks are not honorable. They also stated that, much like seatbelts, wearing a mask is the law. That is a lie. That video was callously and maliciously posted to fearmonger citizens, and the backlash could be dangerous to our community. Those who do not wear masks for medical reasons, religious reasons, or because they know they violate their civil liberties now have to live in fear that some may go beyond shaming us and taunting us, and because they have been told by those judges that is the law, may find themselves going further into the abyss by harassing or hurting those of us who know it's not a law. We have all seen instances where innocent people have been harassed, chased, and beaten for not wearing masks. That video needs to be taken down, or at the very least, because freedom of speech is a right we have, the video should be remade and speak only the truth. Mask wearing and social distancing are not laws. They were mandates, suggestions from a governor who on July 27, 2020, literally stated himself, "I cannot mandate anything. I can only influence." Our county must also keep in mind that that video can be viewed as a conflict of interest to those judges who oversee our community's civil laws. We urge you not to follow suit with other cities attempting to impose fines on citizens exercising their rights by fining them for not wearing masks. In order for any police officer or sheriff to attempt to lawfully fine us by writing a ticket for not wearing a mask or for not social distancing, they will need to cite a penal code. There is no penal code for that. If masks work, why do we need to also maintain 6 feet? If distancing works, why are you wearing masks? If this virus is so contagious, why can't those who get tested cough in a cup instead of use a nasal swab? Why are gyms closed but liquor stores deemed essential? Why are protests okay but gatherings with our family is dangerous? Why are you allowing our public health director to tell you not to open up our county until a vaccine is created? Influenza has a vaccine and it still kills 40,000 to 65,000 people a year. Why is she not recommending daily sunlight, vitamin C, A, and exercise? Why is she pushing a vaccine when COVID has a 99.9% survival rate? This isn't about our health or safety. This is called programming. History teaches us that the compliant, the fearful, have been the ones that ushered in horrific things. It scares me to recognize that we are living in a time where people willingly give their rights away and shame those who are doing all that we can do to wake them up. Quarantine is when you restrict the movement of sick people. Tyranny is when you restrict the movement of healthy people. Please don't make this about the CARES money. Take a stand like the city of Atwater did and stop relying on the government. Please, be our heroes. Set another example of the type of community we can be proud to live in. We don't need this county to be known as a welfare county. We want to take pride in where we live and love our friends and families, our community with honesty and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you. To Board of Supervisors. Thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Bella Rose. I am 9 years old. I am here this evening to talk about why I think you should reopen our cities and towns and let us live our lives the way they were intended, free. I have been forced to stay home, away from my friends. I had to leave school and say goodbye to my teachers in an email, not hug them goodbye. I cannot see my friends because you follow a lie that says we have to stay away from each other, even though we are not sick. And now my friends' parents think they are scared their kids will get sick. For 5 months now, just about everywhere we go without masks, people in stores and restaurants give us dirty looks and try to make us feel bad. We do not have to wear masks. We do not have to social distance. There are no laws that tell us we have to. Now, you have decided to keep our schools closed. I am okay with that because my school has an excellent homeschool program and I will be able to spend more time with my family. Still, for my friends who wish to return to school, I ask you, show us the science that proves it would be unsafe. My friends want to go back to school. I hope you will truly consider opening our schools and letting kids be kids. And being respectful, I also wanted to let you know that closing the Waterworks Park illegally was an awful bad move on your part. You had no right to shut their water off, yet leave other water parks run by the city to remain open. They are a nice family, and you took more away from them than just their water. Shame on you. Governor Newsom's mandate is not a law. We must remember that a law is not a moral compass. We must remember our history. The people who hid Anne Frank were breaking the law. The people who killed her were following it. If your masks work, why force me to wear one? Thank you for taking your time to hear me.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dwight Husted. When I was organizing my thoughts about how to approach the Board of Supervisors, my underlying thought, which I believe is the same with many of us out here, was if they knew what the facts and data actually indicate, then they will open our county for business. I wondered why the state and county recommendations were getting more stringent when the number of people hospitalized dropped below 6,000, which is down 19% over the last 14 days. Why are state and county officials closing down schools when there are currently only 1,727 patients in ICU due to the China virus, which is down 13%? Stacks and stacks of numbers and data that are available at the click of a button that in fact prove that COVID-1984 is no more deadly than influenza. That's when I realized why none of the information that is so readily available and none of the data that has been read into these meetings seems to sway the public health director nor the Shasta County Board of Supervisors' opinions. I will concede that it is not willful ignorance that guides your decisions. That would be reckless and irresponsible of any ruling body to assume that what you are being told by state health officials and the governor is in any way accurate following the misrepresentation and manipulation of data, admitted massive flaws in testing, and data transmission that is so messed up that it prompted the resignation of California Public Health Director. I do not believe that you are all ignorant of the facts. I believe that you are aware of all the data that contradicts the need for any of these draconian mask measures and closing of our businesses and schools. That is why you so easily brush them aside, completely off the table in favor of the manifesto issued by the state. So how does that help the people of Shasta County recover and thrive? It doesn't. It does, however, help you. For fiscal year 2020-2021 State of California budget, Shasta County has been allotted $18,153,000 in CARES funds. That's not a handout, however. The only way to receive that money is to keep Shasta County on lockdown indefinitely, according to Dictator Newsom's orders, bankrupting businesses in Shasta County and become dependent on state, which is welfare, at which point you will be granted reimbursement. None of the money, by the way, will go to the businesses that were destroyed in the process because it's all allocated to Shasta County Health and Services. It is quite clear to me now that your motivation for sustaining this lockdown is not the health and safety of citizens of Shasta County, 99% recovery rate, by the way, but the health and safety of Shasta County extortion funds to be used later date as county supervisors see fit.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Suki Johnson. I am a stage 4 tonsillar cancer survivor. I went through 33 radiation treatments on my left tonsil, left lymph nodes, and the base of my tongue, including 3 chemos. I have no saliva because the radiation treatments fried my salivary glands. I am deaf in my right ear and 30% in my left from chemo. I must be given a 2 milligram lorazepam for high anxiety to be put into any scanning tube, and I freak out with anything covering my face. I cannot wear a face covering. I have been denied my 2.5-year cancer screening by MD Imaging, as they will not accommodate my disabilities. I did make a call to the ADA. They are in serious violations of the ADA guidelines. They are also not following Governor Newsom's orders. The following individuals are exempt from wearing a face covering: persons with medical condition, mental health condition, or disability that prevents them wearing a face covering. I'm so beyond shocked, frustrated, and upset. I do not have to divulge anything about my medical condition. And just because COVID is here, that does not allow any medical place, companies, or anyone at all to wipe out ADA guidelines that have become law on July 26th of 1990 that prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to the general public. This is supposed to protect people like me. When and how did this all of a sudden become void? How many other people are they doing this to? This must stop. We need to reopen our county now. How many more people must suffer without getting medical attention before something is done? I am begging you to take this into serious consideration. Thank you for your time.
My name is Grace Lockwood, and I am a freshman at Foothill High School. I was looking forward to this year, only to be disappointed by the fact that we are only having 2 days of school. As if we are going to get enough education with only 2 days. Also, to add on, I have no friends in my cohort, thanks to the way that school is now reopened. I now have to start my first day of school with no friends. I lost my 8th grade trip and graduation to lockdown, and I do not want to lose my one and only freshman year to it. Not to mention my cousin, who is in her senior year, is a huge athlete, and she lost her opportunity. I know freshman year isn't that big of a deal for y'all, but it's a big deal for me.
My name is Jamie Lockwood. That's my daughter Grace, my son Gage, and Graydon. My mom died of lung failure when she was 59 years old. She had severe asthma my whole life, in and out of the hospital my whole childhood. As I get older, my lungs have been getting weaker. I can feel it every year. As an adult, I've been diagnosed with allergy-induced asthma. I have periods where I am extremely short of breath, sometimes for days at a time. I have year-round allergies, take 2 medications, have my inhalers that I use, and I just cannot breathe in a mask. I've tried for short periods going to the bank, especially when this first started. I tried to comply for the first month, and my lungs felt terrible for days afterwards, full of fluid, produced lots of coughing. And while I'm wearing a mask, I have to constantly pull it away from my face to catch my breath. Feeling like you can't breathe and having to think about each breath is mentally exhausting and a scary way to live. So I have to make the choice literally between breathing fresh air or putting on a mask everywhere I go. I can tell you I choose to breathe. I can also tell you I'm usually one of the only people without a mask wherever I go. By far, most people are wearing them here in our county. So why haven't our numbers decreased? Why do we still have an increase in cases? Because masks are not working. They've been mandated since June 18th. We've had plenty of time for it to prove that they were working, and it's not. My daughter was born with a cleft lip and palate, so she has abnormalities with her nose and breathing issues and congestion, along with 2 holes in her heart. I'm upset that she's now being forced to have to wear a mask at school. We don't know what these masks are going to do for her possible heart issues. And I'm just angry. It should be a choice. People should be able to choose to wear a mask if they would like, and to choose not to if that's what they need. Sorry, I went off script. This is supposed to be an exciting time for her. She's starting high school, and it's not. I work at a school. Today was my first day back, and it's depressing. I'm scared for our kids. I'm sad for our kids. They're not seeing our faces. They're not getting the love and care that they need in the schools, and I'm sad. It needs to change. We need to open up our county. We need to let it be a choice.
Hi, my name is Kalea Mizuta. I am a senior at UPrep High School, and I'm here to speak not only for myself, but on behalf of my graduating class. I don't understand why all of our senior memories that only come once in our life are being taken away from us. If we stay locked down, all the special memories of walking across the stage at graduation, having our senior prom, and especially for athletes like myself, who have been working their entire lives to get an athletic scholarship and having a senior night won't get. We are not going to have our senior trip, which is the last big thing we do together before we all leave separate ways. I have read the numbers and all the reports for the COVID case, and there is no reason to be locked down and taking away all the memories that my graduating class won't get.
On April 15th, Shasta County health officials projected that without restrictions, COVID cases in Shasta County would peak by mid-May with over 1,500 hospitalizations. If we put in lax restrictions, they predicted our hospitals would be overloaded by mid-June with 500 hospitalizations, and we would peak by the beginning of July with around 650. And that was off of a screenshot that was presented from the Shasta County Health, I believe, to you guys in a Wednesday briefing. Obviously, panic ensued. Restrictions were put in place. With these lax restrictions in place, on June 13th, we had 1 COVID hospitalization while 500 were being predicted. On July 1st, we had 8 Shasta County residents hospitalized when 650 were predicted. Obviously, numbers were grossly overestimated. Right now, we're in a level 3 alert, and according to our Shasta County surveillance indicator, with all the numbers that I could research off of the site, it shows us in level 1, which is a new normal, or a low level 2 moderate risk. And also according to the covidactnow.org, we are also showing level 1 and low level 2 standards. So I'm just curious what's keeping us at this high level 3 alert. While our positivity test rate is slowly climbing, our death rate continues to drop significantly. Our overall positivity test rate continues to stay under 2%, which is in our new normal guidelines. COVID has killed 10 people so far in this 8 months. That is 5.5 people per 100,000, since they like to make things easier per 100,000. Regular influenza historically kills 27.8 people per 100,000 each year in Shasta County. So as you can see, COVID deaths continue to be considerably lower than our influenza deaths historically. So again, we are asking the board to request that truthful, factual, and comparable data be reported regarding COVID. The guiding principles that have been given for the implementation of mitigation strategies demands that the decision for the level of risk is acceptable and that choices are made by being informed. Facts continue to prove that we are not in a state of emergency, nor do we need millions in funding at the expense of our local business and way of life. There's either incompetence or fraud in our health department and or our board of supervisors. We demand honesty, transparency, and accountability. We demand that you vote to end the current state of emergency due to COVID. We need our county open now.
My name is Emily Aldrin. Thank you so much for hearing us.
Thank you, Emily.
I would like to respectfully but firmly request that you completely open up the churches in Shasta County. Gavin Newsom and many others would have the American people believe that churches are non-essential and are contributing to the spread of COVID-19. In reality, churches are essential. Keeping them shut down is hurting millions of people everywhere, far more than this virus has. It is in times of fear and uncertainty that people need what the church provides more than ever. Depriving people of church is depriving them of desperately needed connection, fellowship, love, support, and comfort. For Christians, gathering and worshiping with other believers is not just a preference, it is a command. In Hebrews 10, we are told to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as it is the habit of some, but encouraging one another. The faith of the American people has sustained them through many a crisis and trial, and COVID-19 is no different. Closing down Shasta County, including churches, has resulted in more violent crime, child abuse, domestic violence, mental health issues, and higher suicide rates, among other things. Keeping people locked up in their homes, unable to worship God and fellowship with other people in the way they're used to doing, is doing more harm than good. Why is it that churches pose more of a threat to people than daycares, casinos, grocery and retail stores, tattoo parlors, and salons? If all of these places are deemed essential, then churches should be too. There is obviously a double standard being set up by the local and state government, and it is completely at odds with the First Amendment. There is absolutely no reason why gathering in church should be a punishable offense when Newsom's Winery is open for business. It is unbelievable to me that pastors and churchgoers are being threatened with imprisonment while California releases violent criminals onto our streets because they might catch a virus with a 99.9% recovery rate. Open our churches. Stop operating under this double standard and recognize that churches are essential. This lockdown cure for this virus is far worse for Shasta County than the virus itself. More lives are being ruined, more livelihoods are being devastated as a result of shutting down our economy than would ever result from COVID-19 running its course. Your willingness to go along with Gavin Newsom's every whim is hurting Shasta County in many tangible and intangible ways. Voters will remember come next election what the board has done for us and what it has failed to do.
Hi, I'm Maya Fowler. I'm 14 years old, and I didn't really know what I was going to come here to say today, but I just came here to speak from my heart because I started my first day of high school today, and all that I could hear through my mind today was, I cannot breathe. I do have asthma, but I tried to tell my teachers and they would not listen to me, but I could not breathe. I went to the principal's office. I got in trouble multiple times today because I couldn't breathe when I tried to get fresh air. And yeah, and I heard that you can do something about this. So yeah, and hopefully I can go to school tomorrow and not get in trouble for not being able to breathe. So thank you for your time.
On September 7th, 1774, the Continental Congress held its first official meeting at Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia. Their first official act was prayer. Our founding fathers prayed with fervency and intensity. Eyewitnesses said Henry, Randolph, Rutledge, Lee, and Jay were doubled over as they bowed in reverence before God. And not surprisingly, General George Washington ended up on his knees. These revolutionaries knew their cause was doomed to fail without divine intervention. They prayed like it depended on God because they knew it did. The pastor who led them in prayer that morning was Dr. Jacob Duché. Dr. Duché's prayer is more than just a piece of our history. It's a piece of our destiny. O Lord, our heavenly Father, high and mighty, King of kings and Lord of lords, who dost from thy throne behold all dwellers on the earth, and reignest with power supreme and uncontrolled over all the kingdoms, empires, and governments. Look down in mercy, we beseech thee, on these our American states who have fled to thee from the rod of the oppressor and thrown themselves on thy gracious protection, desiring to be henceforth dependent only on thee. Be thou present, O God of wisdom, and direct the counsels of this honorable assembly. Shower down on them and the millions here they represent such temporal blessings as thou seest expedient for them in this world, and crown them with everlasting glory in the world to come. All this we ask in the name and through the merits of Jesus Christ, thy Son and our Savior. Amen. I want you to know that you are being prayed for. This is an opportunity for you to be on the side of history, where you make history.
This is my first time doing this. I'm Robin Latat. This is my daughter.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Latat.
She wants to speak for herself. This is the first time I've ever done this and spoke, but I am a veteran. I'm a mother of 4 kids. I am a business owner in Shasta County. For the past 3 years, I have a cleaning business, and I'm really, really frustrated and disturbed at what's going on in our county, in our nation, in our state, and I just really think and believe masks need to not be required for the schools. First of all, there's so many reasons. Like, kids learn by mirroring, they learn by facial, they learn from us. They need to copy us. And to have masks on, it's uncomfortable for them. It's not a good way to learn. And also face-to-face instruction is so important. Instead of having learning online, my kids have been home since March. And I'm a single mom, and I want to advocate for the single parents, because I'm a single mom of 4 kids, and I'm busting my butt to work and provide, right, through this time in this season, and then also manage them at home. Luckily, they're all middle school and older, so they can all be home together. But I have other single mom friends that they have to what are they going to do? Everything's shut down. They're not making money. And then when they do have to go to the work, their kids, some of the kids that are only single children are just home alone. It's really frustrating. And not just right now. They've been home since March. And then as a business owner, we need to open our economy. I'm going around to local businesses. I'm not a Reading native, but I'm going around to local businesses, and they're so frustrated. They want to rebel. They want to be open. They already shut down once, and then they lost thousands of dollars of all their produce and all their income. Then they reopened again, and now they're asked to shut down a second time. They can't do that. I see people sitting outside in 100-degree heat for businesses trying to remain open. It's absolutely ridiculous. We can't shut down our economy. That's going to cause such a long-term ripple effect of problems. We can't. It's not going to work. So I would just encourage us, as a county at least, to open up our schools, open up our county, open up our economy, allow businesses to do and have the freedom and rights. I'm a veteran as well, and I do not like that I served my country and my nation to see my freedoms and rights being so restricted. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated being in California right now. And people are leaving left and right the state because it's so frustrating to be here. So I don't even like that I have to come down with my kids and speak. But this is how frustrating it is. I feel like our rights are being threatened. I don't like it. I don't wear a mask at all. Don't like it. It's a virus. It's going to go through every mask.
I think that masks are super itchy, and they're really, and you're basically just breathing in your own breath, and that can be sometimes harmful towards you. And I feel like I can't really learn online, and I feel like I learn more when that's just not my style of learning. I feel like I learn a lot better when I'm face to face with my teacher and she helps me with the problem next to me. That helps me a lot. And I just think that I've been home since March, and I really want to go back to school. I want to see my friends again. And yeah.
Hi there, can you share your name, please?
Yes, hello. My name's Alyssa, and I'm 18. I just graduated high school this year. I also graduated with my associate's degree at Shasta College. Of course, it's been a rough year, I'm sure, because I know from my own experience, but I know it's been harder for you because you've had to deal with it much more than I have. Yes, and I just simply came here to say thank you. It's funny, I'm a little bit nervous, if you can't tell from my voice, but I think of you guys speaking to many more people on much harder subjects, and it encourages me, so thank you. And thank you so much for the way you've handled 2020 in this year, and just all you've done. It's a blessing that you've done it so that I don't have to, and I appreciate that. And I know you'll do this anyway, but I just come here to ask that you make the right decision, and I know you'll do your best, and I hope that you have the resources and strategies to make the right decision in the best way possible. So,
thank you.
God bless America, and God bless you.
My name is Bonnie Saunders. I am a special education teacher's aide, as well as a parent. I'm concerned about our kids. You may say that schools are outside your jurisdiction, but the board directs Dr. Randstrom, and she's directing our superintendents with guidelines. Direct Dr. Randstrom to detail parameters for our schools to move to no masks for kids. As a teacher, I am most concerned about the risk to our kids' health by wearing masks and by being socially distant. My oldest daughter is a senior, At UPrep, they're required to wear a mask all day long. She is an athlete, and I'm concerned about her health. I'm also concerned about nonverbal communication, especially with the special education kids that I work with. They need to see our faces in order to communicate, as well as every kid needs to. I'm concerned about lack of social interaction, especially for those that are distance learning, being on the computer all day. I'm concerned about lack of social interaction, being told to be separated from each other. And I'm concerned about more time on the computer. In my district, we're distance learning, and that is, it will not be good for kids who are not supervised. Parents are not able to supervise them. They can fall prey to online predators.
Good evening. Can you share your name, please?
Yes, my name is John Knight. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, John.
I'm here to stand for freedom. We have lost so much lately. Who is essential? Apparently all of the biggest, nastiest, slave labor, anti-human, anti-American companies in the world. These are companies making record profits while my brothers and sisters of this great county and nation are shut down and told putting food on their table or making their house payment is not essential for them. So are we supposed to just lay down and give up our rights for a false sense of security? Oh, let's see here. Now we are setting up snitch networks locally for people not wearing masks or social distancing. I choose dangerous freedom over safe tyranny every time. In this case, it is safe freedom. It's a win-win. I understand there's a lot of fear going on right now, but the false narratives that masks work on COVID pushed by the media and the politicians who constantly lie to us, no. OSHA has standards of a 19.5% oxygen level in a working environment. Anything less is oxygen deficient. I'm sure you know we breathe oxygen and out carbon dioxide, so it only takes a couple of seconds to achieve unsafe levels with a mask on. It is our interaction with microbes that builds our immune system, and breathing oxygen is good. There's been 14 PRC studies on masks. PRC is 25 academic institutions to conduct applied public health prevention research. You can look this up directly on the CDC, and all of the 14 studies show that masks don't work. The aerosols are too small, like throwing a golf ball through a basketball hoop. The studies also showed that if you're infected, the virus builds up on the outside of the mask, and most people touch their face and spread it even more. We are doing the opposite of common sense. Why? Dr. Anthony Cardillo has treated over 1,000 people and has 100% success on critically ill people with hydroxychloroquine and zinc, and 8 to 12 hours after the patients are treated, they're virtually symptom-free. And there are many more doctors using this very effective treatment and many more around the world. Hydroxychloroquine has been around for over 65 years and always considered safe until all of a sudden when it competes with the vaccine that's supposed to save us, when the same people setting the policies are set to profit from this. Obviously, this is a conflict of interest. We should be boosting our immune systems, not bogging them down. We live in an upside-down world where doctors get rated for giving first responders vitamin C. I guess C is bad now all of a sudden. So when there are many very effective ways to prevent and deal with this virus, why the shutting down of local businesses and why pushing masks? My question to you, Board of Supervisors, is are there strings attached to the COVID relief money for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021 of the state of California budget? Shasta County has been allocated $18,153,000 in coronavirus aid relief. The county received the first payment of $3 million the first week of August. So what side of history do you guys want to be on? Is it freedom or tyranny?
So I come here today for you guys as a father and a businessman. I came from San Diego about 3 years ago and instantly fell in love with Shasta County. It's community focus, the people, a place for our 4 kids to grow up, where we can create legacy and thrive, and where we can instill in that a sense of worthiness. So pre-COVID, my business partner and I were successful in going through the 12 counties and really fostering and witnessing unity, a shared vision, the hopes and actions for a better way, and to really elevate our economy and our families, specifically our youth. We now find ourselves in an overridden fear environment, causing inmates being released, businesses closed, creating an environment of desperation where potential radical decisions could be had. Schools are closed, and isolation, mental health, and emotional and social issues are on a rise. There's a division of good, genuine people, and now shaming and fear is among everyone. Now, I'm not saying COVID doesn't exist, that it hasn't taken the lives of people we love. I have a mom with cancer and a brother-in-law with an autoimmune disease, so I know very closely the severities that could be had. What I am saying is that when decisions and freedoms are being taken away that not only affect the livelihood of our businesses and the economy, but now attack our youth and my children specifically, for that I can't stay silent. The decisions and mandates coming down are just not justified. Now, I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I use discernment in relationships to pick my battles, when to let go and when to stand my ground. And when it comes to our kids and our livelihood, that's where I'm coming today, as this is the ground that I need to stand on. Now, I think we could all agree we aren't meant to do life alone. Youth focus and human focus is top of mind, and it's our responsibilities as fathers, as mothers, as friends, as sons and daughters, as business owners, and as leaders, that no matter what social pressures around the world may come down, there needs to be a self-check. And I leave it with this. The song that's been really close and dear to my heart is the song Together, that if we fall, we will fall together. And when we rise, we will rise together. Together we are dangerous. Together we are different. Together with our differences. Together we are bolder, braver, stronger. Now, we have fallen as a community, but now is our time to rise together. What if Shasta County rose together, and I have your backs and you have mine?
Hi, my name is June Simonis, and I'm here to say, and I'm from Oak Run Elementary School, and I would like us not to have masks or not to social distance because we are stronger together, and I'd like to not worry about having to social distance or having to wear masks while I'm eating lunch. I don't want to worry if somebody has coronavirus. I just want to be a kid, and all I would have to worry about is education and learning, because I would really like to just focus on that, because I would like to have a good education, and I would really like for us to just wrap this up, because I don't want to wear a mask, and I don't want to social distance. I want to see my friends and be with them and have fun as a normal human being. And our community is so scattered out by coronavirus that we aren't coming together. And when we have one idea, it's great. But when we come together as a community and have all these different ideas, we can help change the world and just make it a nice, peaceful, safe community. And I would really like that for me and my friends and my school. I would like to just have fun and not worry about any of this and just be a normal human being. Hello, my name is Pearl Baugh, and I don't really want to wear a mask. I want to be free. I want to go to my school and not have to wear a mask. I want to see my friends and give them hugs. I don't want to eat lunch and have to worry about other people having the coronavirus.
Hi, my name's Audrey. I go to Millville Elementary. I'm part of cross country and track, and my entire track season got canceled due to COVID. I was really looking forward to running in the Junior Olympics in Tennessee this year, and that all got shut down. And I'm going into 8th grade. I'm 13, and my entire 8th grade year has been totally different and messed up. And I just think that it's not so much important to be wearing a mask and social distancing when I could have a normal 8th grade year and hang out with my friends and eat lunch and be in the classroom without having plexiglass separators, dividers. And I do 4-H. I do a steer. That's a lot of work. Yeah, and so after all the work I put in all year, my fair did happen, but really differently. It wasn't the same at all, and we didn't get to see anybody, and the show was really different. So I just really appreciate if everything could go back to normal and how it was, and if I could just be around my friends and my family safely.
Barbara Reynolds, Reading, Chair Rickert and the board, I am calling upon you to make a motion to terminate this state of emergency. In accordance with the California Emergency Services Act Section 8558B, a state of emergency can only be called if the threat overwhelms the current resources of the state. Furthermore, the state of emergency has to be terminated at the earliest possible date. It also means the duly proclaimed existence of conditions of disaster or of extreme peril to the safety of persons and property. Clearly, this is not the case in Shasta County. There is no threat that overwhelms the current resources of the state, since this COVID-19 related deaths are fewer than the average flu season. Therefore, COVID-19 cannot lawfully be classified as an epidemic. Therefore, the grounds for the state of emergency do not exist. Therefore, the basis for the state of emergency is invalid and unlawful. Therefore, the state of emergency should have been terminated according to California law, which states at the earliest possible date that conditions warrant. Therefore, there are no legal grounds for an additional extension or a new state of emergency to be declared. Section 8567B states, whenever the state of war emergency or state of emergency has been terminated, the orders and regulations shall be of no further force or effect. This means that all of the orders that were created under the state of emergency are also expired, including but not limited to stay-at-home orders, social distancing, wearing of a mask, closing of businesses and schools. It also means the polling places will be open to accept ballots and the mail-in ballots will become null and void. Therefore, you are in violation of the law and this state of emergency must be terminated today.
I'm Evangeline. I'm a student of Millville, and I have to homeschool this year because I have to wear a mask at school, and I would like to be able to go to school without wearing a mask. I would like to be able to hug my friends when I get into class, and my aunt has cancer, and I have to quarantine to see her, and so I don't get to see her very much, and if I do, I have to social distance, and I would like to be able to hug her. And I was really disappointed because I was really looking forward to running cross country with my team, and that all got canceled, and my soccer got canceled I was really looking forward to, and I do a lamb in 4-H, and that got canceled. Well, it didn't get canceled, I still got to go, but it was very different, and we had to stay 6 feet apart, and if your lamb got away from you, then you would have to go, and you get disqualified, and it was way different, and it wasn't very fun. And usually it's very fun and you have a really good time, but this time felt like you didn't really get the whole experience. And it was my first year, but my sisters have been doing it for a long time, so I knew what it was, and it just felt really different, and it wasn't like the good experience that I've had.
Hello, my name is Addison Simonis. I'm 11 years old. I go to Oak Run Elementary School, and I do 4-H and basketball. And last year I went to Junction Elementary in Palisadro, California. And I was there, and I was really excited, and I was gonna play against my cousin for basketball. And that was gonna be my second year playing. And then right at the end, we got a notice saying that we couldn't do it. So I was very upset. And then I was all prepared to do a 4-H lamb at the Shasta County Fair. And that would be my second year doing a lamb. And I've went other times because their sisters have always did it, and we're all really close. And it was really weird this year, like no carnival rides. We all started to take 6 feet away, and everything was just very fast, and it was just really different. It was harder and more complicated, and so it's been affecting me a lot. And yeah, I just wanted to say that. And I wish that this could all stop and we could all forget about it. And everyone, it's like you're supposed to wear a mask, but then everyone will pull up their shirt or wear bandanas. It's like, if this was actually serious, shouldn't we all be wearing an actual mask that will actually protect us? But it doesn't seem like most people are taking it seriously because they'll pull up their shirt or wear a bandana, like I said. That I don't know what that would do.
Hello, Rebecca Walker. All right, I actually didn't have anything really prepared, and I'm sure you've probably heard every topic covered and all the statistics and data. So I'm just going to share from my heart. And I'm going to share something that sounds really simple, but is very precious to me. My son in 7th grade, I had to go through a serious brain surgery, and he was afraid he was going to lose me. At the same time, his mother and father, me and my ex-husband, went through divorce. We went through homelessness. We went through a lot. In 2015, he lost interest in sports. I played sports all growing up, and I loved watching him play. All the way into high school. Now he's going to be a senior. Last year's a junior. I kept doing everything I could to try to foster that love of sports back into him because he lost that interest after so much that we went through. He finally got that interest back and said, "Mom, I want to play baseball." It sounds so simple. You know how much that filled my heart with joy. So the team started to practice, and I got to see my son play again. It has not been 3 minutes. Oh, you don't have the timer. And so I got to watch him start to play, and then COVID happened, and it got shut down. Now here we are, the next school year. No sports, no recreation, no socialization. I mean, as the fear that as adults go through, can you imagine what our children are going through? The public education system is screwed up. It's a whole other story. I don't like the public education system. I'm glad this forced our hand into homeschooling for my son and my stepkids. However, that part, the sports, the socialization, and just the effect that it's having on our children, let alone businesses and livelihoods, I implore you to do the right thing. Don't let money make your decisions for you. You do what is right. The opposite of fear is faith. The opposite of these masks and compliance is freedom. And we are watching our constitutional rights just be trampled on. And this is my hometown. I was born and raised here. And to see us cave just breaks my heart. This is not who we are. We are Shasta strong. And so I beg you to please do the right thing. And that's it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Rebecca.
My name is Caitlin Fairfield. I live in Shingletown, and I am a sophomore at Foothill High School. I'm a Girl Scout, I'm a band student, and I do a lot of things in the community. My sisters and I, we volunteer at the Veterans Home and do Christmas carols every year. And, you know, to have everything shut down so fast was not only terrifying to me, but I have always struggled with my mental health, and having all of it shut down so fast was not only detrimental to my physical health, but my mental health, and along with my siblings. And I, for one, along with everyone in my house, am tired of being at home, not being able to socialize, and trying to learn from a computer screen where we have no internet connection, with 4 other people trying to distance learn and my mom trying to go back to college. And so please, for the sake of the children who are drowning in isolation, who are drowning in depression and drowning in fear, please open up the schools and open up the communities, because I, for one, can speak from experience from all of this. So thank you.
Hello, and thank you for having me. My name's Tim Fairfield, and I live in Shingletown. I enlisted in Shasta County. I took the oath of office, the oath of enlistment, before I could vote. That oath was an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I'd like to remind you, you took a very similar oath. A lot of you may have forgotten that. I would hope you just forgot you took that oath, and you weren't just liars from the beginning. There are hundreds of people out there, and yet I stand in an empty room. This isn't your room. It belongs to those people out there. And I can't figure out if you're just hiding in here, empty room, you got your sycophants and maybe a few toadies. Are you hiding from the public out of contempt or just cowardice? Maybe corruption? I'm not sure. There's a lot of questions going on out there, and that's what they're asking. Let me remind you of what The law says in California, from the Open Meetings Act, the people of this state do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies which serve them. The people, in delegating their authority, do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over the instruments they have created. This is their body, not yours. You know, this is 2020, so maybe I can take a page from your friends at Antifa and BLM. If you don't want the people in this room exercising their God-given authority to supervise you, their servants, we can take these protests to your house, to your neighborhoods. How long do we have to march in front of your streets before you're a pariah to your neighbors, before you're reviled in your community? That is an option. Peacefully to assemble doesn't mean that you get to hide in this room from the protest. You know, you were more than glad to let BLM take the streets 2 months ago. We can do that. So let me remind you of something else that one of our founders, one of our greatest founders had wrote. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Where do you stand? And to those of you over there with that badge, you took an oath too. And so when these people do not let the citizenry of this county into this building to participate in their process, who's breaking the law? And who do you side with?
I really appreciate you being able to sit there for so many hours and listen to all of us. My brief comments are a little bit different than everybody else's, but they are related together. I want to share with you what Supreme Court Justice Joseph Story stated regarding the Second Amendment in 1833. He stated, "The right of the citizens to keep and bear arms has justly been considered the palladium of liberties of a republic, since it offers a strong moral check against the usurpation and arbitrary powers of rulers, and will generally, even if these are successful in the first instance, enable the people to resist and triumph over them." On July 21st, 2020, you were presented with presented for adoption a Second Amendment resolution by the Shasta County Gun Owners and California Rifle and Pistol Association. Board members, you swore an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the U.S. Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Joseph Story's comments are referring to each and every one of you. As a citizen of Shasta County, I want to strongly urge you to adopt this resolution. If you cannot officially act with one voice to ensure that the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution will never be diminished by laws which threaten its foundation, then I ask each of you to respectfully resign your seat on the Shasta County Board of Supervisors. The Second Amendment is a safeguard which protects U.S. citizens from tyrannical public officials. My question is what type of elected representatives will you be? This evening you have several hundred people out there that think that tyranny is taking place here in Shasta County. So it's with a great deal of respect that I present to you what Joseph Story presented as a Supreme Court Justice. Thank you very much.
I'm Michaela Gallant, and my age is 10. This year I was going into 5th grade, and I wanted to go back to school, but they made you wear masks, and for me, I get really hot, and you can't really breathe with a mask on. It kind of hurts. So I think we should really fix that, because it should be like you're allowed to wear a mask. You don't have to. I just really don't like it.
Good evening, Board of Supervisors. My name, oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
My name is Wendy Gallant. I am a proud mother and business owner and have been a nurse for 26 years. And I just want to bring up about the coronavirus and how we have seen with our local business and people being forced to wear masks the effects on their own personal health as they try and, these little old people try and toddle into the store and they're overheating, and I really worry about them. And, you know, the flu has killed more people than the coronaviruses. And so the fact that people are being forced to wear masks, they're out touching everything else and then inoculating and touching their face and potentially causing more harm to themselves than if they weren't to have a mask on. Financially, you know, we have businesses hanging on by a thread. The open and close, our local community. Not only that, the emotional effects of isolation. You know, we have seen that there's been an increase in anxiety, sleeplessness, suicide rates, child and domestic abuse, families being broken by being isolated, and kids unable to grow socially and emotionally due to this isolation. Compound this by the fact that churches have been forced to close, so people are unable to meet with their pastors and attend church. This minimizes their ability to be social with their church and unable to process the emotions that they're having regarding being isolated.
My name's Brooklyn Gallant, and I'm age 8. And school, everything's been hard since we've had to wear masks, and we haven't been able to go to school. So, like, the only friends we get to play with is our friends Serene and Dylan. And this mask thing is just weird. Like, no one likes it. Seriously.
Good evening. My name is Paul Hood. Thank you for your time this evening. I feel a little like I'm in the principal's office, but it turns out the principal's office can be not such a bad thing when you get to know the folks. So first, thank you for your serving our community. I appreciate all that you've done and thought through, and I'm sure in probably this time in our country's history, you might wish you were in different roles. I'm sure it's a contentious position, and I feel for the difficult decisions that you must be facing, maybe daily. I listened. I've been listening outside for the past 3 hours to many of our citizens tell their stories. Many have been heartbreaking. Some are angry, but most are hurting. And I hope it's been moving to each of you as you've heard their stories and you've heard their pain, you've heard their frustration. Many of the experiences spread the gamut from ages, children, younger, older. It's neat to see the community come together in such a way I felt. And I suspect for many, maybe it's the first time they've ever spoken in a venue like this. So thank you for opening up this evening and spending your time with us here. I guess, some even come together with observational data and logic to try and sway your decision making. All those things are important to consider. My request, though, is that you take courage, that you search your hearts, and that you lead our county in a way that inspires our citizens. That our state is inspired, and even the nation, as those watching see our community thrive. You can enable us all to create a vibrant community, healthy places to live, a robust economy, and restore our liberty. Be bold, be brave, and be ready for we the people to cheer your good leadership. Legacy is ahead. What will ours look like?
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ronine Lund.
I'm a citizen here in Shasta County. I understand that you don't want to open the county because you believe you need the CARES money, which obligates you to follow state COVID guidelines. I want you to shred your contract with the state, and if you need be, withhold tax revenues that would normally be sent to the state in an amount equal to the CARES monies we should have received from the federal government. Are the suicides, increased addictions, business bankruptcies, general citizen anxiety and depression, loss of income, child abuse, loss of church community, loss of education, worth the relatively small amount of money that our county is being held hostage for? I think not. Stop letting Newsom bully our county. Stand up for what your constituents want, or we will see that you are recalled or not elected again. We are not in a state of emergency. You need to end the stay-at-home order. Open up our county tonight. Take a vote tonight and open the county now. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Good evening, Thomas. I haven't seen you guys for a while. I've been down here trying to get in, but we're losing our Constitution and we're blaming it on other people. Can't go to church, can't do this, can't do that. Someone should feel very proud of themselves. I mean, there's people lost their lives for this type of republic. And you don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure out what's going on. As soon as the election's in November, it's going to be over. But maybe that's how some people want it. But there's a lot of people losing their livelihood. And no one gives a crap up there. There's little kids out here crying. They can't play ball. There's kids trying to go to football, baseball, soccer. We built that system up, and all of a sudden you guys are following some guy in L.A. You guys are following. What happened to Adwater? Why don't we follow Adwater? It's not too late to grow some, Mr. Morgan. Don't follow, please. Look in your mind, Joe. You let a lot of people down, man. There's little kids out here crying. There's people losing their livelihood, and you guys are getting your money. I don't see anything about balancing the budget. I don't see anything about that. I've never heard of this crap. But people are getting tired. I was in Nam. I was shot. What, 70,000 people fought for some reason? This little speaker out here is really pathetic. What is it, 500 million we have? Maybe we can take a collection and get a better speaker. The controls here on this microphone don't hit half the people. I know one time here, last time, the news guy get to come in, but he doesn't put on any good news. Why can't I work for a newspaper and come in here and sit? We've got all these empty seats. What's wrong with that? Are you guys special? Are you something special? Mama lied to you. You're not special. Joe. It's real sad. I'm really disappointed in Shasta County. Look at Atwater. At least look it up. See what some people are doing. Don't sit on the fence and say, well, we'll see which way it falls. I've heard that before. I've heard Mr. Ball say, now, well, you know, we're not the school board. That's going to be one of his favorite lines. But you guys can vote on something.
Thank you.
And you've been voting the wrong way. Thank you, bud.
Good evening. My name's Clayton Oxley. I wasn't really intending to come and speak today. I'm not prepared at all, but I would just like to say a few things. I am very much in favor of you reopening this city. I've lived in this city for 23 years. I came here with my family when I was 10. I've seen it from when it was still small, still growing, and I have not liked the way that this city has changed. This city is changing and looking more like the big cities that people run away from to come here. This is a very tight-knit community. We have survived many things, like the car fire. and we can survive this as well. We have, I believe I heard, 37 active cases in this city. In the county, actually, I believe I heard. We have in this city almost a population of 100,000. It is not right to restrict and keep people isolated in their homes, endangering their lives, their mental stability, their incomes, their businesses, my own business as well, for that. I see some of you don't have your masks on. I think that's great. I don't. If I have to go inside of a business, I will wear one, but I choose not to if I can avoid it. I don't know. Stick up for your people. Do what you're supposed to do. Be the civil servants you're supposed to be. United States citizens. Have a passion for serving. Have a passion for your neighbors. Not for your own well-being. Not for your positions. I don't know what else to say. Just please help the people. Don't do things because you think it'll keep your job. That's about all I can say.
Good evening.
Hi. I'm Jeb Brown. I'm 19. I graduated high school in the class of 2019. I have a little sister who's a senior in high school this year. Les, you should know her. She was best friends with your granddaughter in elementary school. She won't get to have her senior sunrise this year. She won't get to have her sports, her extracurriculars. She won't get to have prom or her senior sunset or her senior trip. And she might not even get a graduation ceremony. That's what gets kids through the high school experience. The anticipation of that great feeling when you're walking across the stage and you get your diploma when you're all finished. You guys have the power to change that and allow those kids their freedoms. And you can do that because COVID has yet to be a problem here, and I know you've heard the statistics of that 100 times tonight. So if not for the sake of your people, then for the sake of your jobs, reopen the damn county.
Good evening. Good. I am so proud of our county, and I'm thankful for you guys opening up an evening meeting so you can kind of hear for yourselves. And I know that there's some things that you've probably discounted because you feel you don't have control over them. And so let's just focus maybe right now on the things that you could possibly control and what could be done. As you may know, Dr. Karen Randstrom has been working with schools to open, which we are very thankful for. However, the plan for reopening lacks qualitative data. And what I mean by that is basically answering the questions as to when can we lose the masks and or the hybrid model. And the answer that I've seen in several of the reports is, quote unquote, when there is a very low rate of transmission and or vaccines. And so I would ask that you would communicate and see if you can get an answer as far as an actual standard that includes a number and a timeline, because obviously that's up for debate as to what a very low rate of transmission means. And a lot of teachers that I work with in this county are wondering that as well. Their principals aren't able to answer that question. Superintendents aren't. When can we lose the masks? We don't know. There's not a standard for it. There's no way to measure it. And so if you could focus on that and see if we could move forward in that direction, that would be amazing. And I think a lot of the teachers in our county would really appreciate it. And because our children will not be permitted to take off their masks, my challenge for you is to continue to wear your masks for the rest of this meeting and kind of get an idea of how that feels, even when you're talking, because our children won't be allowed to take off their masks when they're talking. And again, last time I was in here, I did ask Dr. Randstrom as far as what their survival rate was. And while recognizing that every death is tragic, the survival rate in our county is 98% for the coronavirus. And so anyways, just getting back to the main point, would love to hear a standard of measurement as to when our schools can get back to what they were used to.
Now, I'm Melody Fowler. It's my daughter Maya Fowler. You heard from her earlier.
Yes, we did.
So I've written a poem, I guess you could call it a free verse poem, 18 million. If someone asked you if you'd be willing to trade a beautiful community nestled in the mountains of Northern California with a river running through the city for $18 million, would you do it? If someone asked you if you'd be willing to trade the blood, sweat, toil, and sacrifice of all of the small businesses in your community for $18 million, would you do it? If someone asked you if you'd be willing to trade the emotional well-being, education, and social interaction of roughly 17,000 students in schools across this county for $18 million, would you do it? If somebody asked you if you would be willing to trade an increase in depression, anxiety, fear, and suicide in your community for $18 million, would you do it? If someone asked you if you'd be willing to trade the ability to congregate, have fellowship, and sing to worship God for $18 million, would you do it? If someone asked you if you'd be willing to trade the oath you took to uphold the California and U.S. Constitution that protects the individual liberties of your constituents for $18 million, would you do it? The coronavirus is real, but it's not a real threat. The coronavirus is real, yes, but it is not a real threat, especially here in Shasta County. The real threat is the trade-off this board has willingly bartered on our behalf. The governor asked you if you'd be willing to trade everything I mentioned earlier for $18 million, and you agreed and you signed the contract. You abused your authority and you've lied to us. Our compliance is necessary for your payoff. Shasta County, if you wear a mask and force your kids to wear masks, you're an active participant in destroying this community. Those who want the Great Reset, Google it on YouTube, the Great Reset, because this is much bigger than just a virus. They've crafted our goodwill. You don't want to harm people into a Trojan horse that will bring in the New World Order, which is not a conspiracy anymore. Resist people while you can, gather together and pray. God is bigger than the enemy, and I don't believe in inciting fear in anyone. Thank you.
My name is Lori Bridgeford, and I would like to follow up briefly from the last time we met. We had an individual speak and had a lapse called a technical glitch. It was around the, I believe, 26-minute marker. We've been making posters and handing this out, and we hope this can be retrieved from last time. Approximately 43 seconds has been officially missing and gone. I hope that can be explained to us. I believe I asked it previously, and hopefully somebody can work on that. I have copies here for the board. I'll put it right back here where I did last time. That's okay. And before I start my comments, this past week I do elder care, and I was in Caldwell Park, and I saw the aquatic park open with intermixing, no masks, no social distancing, and a big water park feature, blasting water. So I've taken pictures, I've sent it to people. If you want, I can email that to you. I find that being rather unfair and a bias to the Waterworks Park, which was closed for what seems to be very similar issues. So I'm a little concerned and actually, quite honestly, aggravated if I was the owner of Water Park. I'll continue with my remarks. Last time I was here, I was speaking about the torture of what it feels like to have the constant flip-flopping of what's allowable or what's current or what's official and all the rest. I know this has been a long day. It's been a long day for all of us, a long few weeks, and a long time, possibly 10 years, since we had an evening meeting. I wear this little handcuff on my wrist to remind myself I am not a prisoner of what's going on. However, I cannot wait until the appropriate people are cuffed. Cannot wait. We've been lied to, and there's so much corruption. We rely on a few people called experts to follow and parrot what happens in public health and the CDC and all the rest. I'm sure you've heard of Dr. Sonia Angel suddenly resigning Sunday evening with no firm details, so that's kind of a curiosity to me. I feel like I'm in an outpatient setting in this community where everyone's just walking around trying to figure it out. Sometimes people get in an argument, fight, or bicker, and I'm very glad you had an evening meeting. I just feel that this is just becoming absolutely insane. It's all about compliance. It's all about the money and conformity and compliance. We have got to open. The masks do not work because of the spiking. Why are these people and doctors and experts being silenced, dropped, scrubbed, erased, banned from YouTube, Twitter, all of it? So do you understand why I'm a little concerned that Corey's got some missing time from the last meeting?
Thank you, Lord.
Oh, my time's up again. Okay, thank you.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Melissa Magana, and man, I'm sweaty. It's hot out there. Thank you for having us have the opportunity to speak to you today. So, I've been in here in the past, and I've spoken my truth. And so far, there are times that I feel my truths are falling upon deaf ears. And my words stay here in this boardroom, and they don't reach anyone else. But tonight, as I walked through the crowds of people in my community, people that I respect, that I love, that feel the same way that I do. Now I know my words are not in vain. Look at all the people that came here today. They feel the same way. We know our rights, and we live by the Constitution. We are not going away. 250 people may be here tonight. Expect twice as much next time. When you give people the truth, and when you give them the knowledge of how much influence you have within your own community at a local level, they get involved. They want to be involved. We're respectful. We just want to be heard. We want to open up Shasta County. And that was all for my speech, because I thought I was going to get cut off at one minute, but sorry, I'm stuttering because I'm my adrenaline. But I want to speak the rest of my time about my niece that came in here, African American with a little afro, cute little girl. Today was her first day of school, and she came out crying. And you don't understand what that does as a family member, that she has to come here and say, I just want to breathe. Teachers hounding her. Don't touch your mask. Don't fidget with it. She just wants to breathe. And she has asthma. She has asthma. She has a medical exemption. My kids have medical exemptions. So when you have something like a mask that supersedes everything else, and as everyone else has come in here and spoken about the lack of data, or when you go to In-N-Out, you wear a mask, order, take it off and eat. What does the coronavirus do? What does any virus do, any disease? They're not selective, okay? So as my last 30 seconds, I would just implore you to look within yourselves. There's many people that showed up tonight and spoke their hearts, including me, and know that we will support you. We will support whatever decision you make toward Gavin Newsom. You know he's a tyrant, but you have our support, your local, your constituents, your business owners, and your Americans.
My name is Rick Phillips. I'm a co-owner of Little Sprouts Micro Farm. It's a microgreens farm here in Redding, California. We really want to thank you for having this meeting in the evening at 6 o'clock, about 9 a.m. when you're typically having it. We're up with the roosters, feeding the animals and getting microgreens watered. Our farm is located about 2 blocks from the city of Redding, South City Park. We grew up there for about 12 years. We bought our house in 2008. I practiced real estate for 13 years. My wife and I have 3 children. Our baby Lorenzo was born March 3rd, right when we agreed to say, hey, we're taking 2 weeks off, and we're like, woo! We could like baby moon with our baby for this period of time while everybody gets their shit figured out. And then How many days has it been? I'm just asking for help, but it's like 150 days. It's something like that. So whatever the plan was, we did the plan. It was 2 weeks. COVID's like, it's a virus that spreads really easily, but it's not a deadly virus. And if you do the math, like, let's just do mathematical numbers. If you wanted to shut the economy down for 2 weeks, make everybody mask up, that's fine. Certain people can't wear masks. 3M can produce 2 billion masks in a year. That's a supply of 6 days worth of masks for everybody. Just send them out, tell people to wear them, if that's the solution. But it's been way too long to hold the economy closed. All you have to do is just go bloop and just tell people, hey, go back to work. It's really I think a lot simpler task than people are making it out to be. And thanks again for having the meeting at the evening. I think it's clear for you guys. Has anybody been in here that said, like, keep it closed? There's been nobody. There's not a soul out there. But there's people here talking, and there's other people who aren't saying things, and there's things being thrown out the window that you've established, like ADA compliance is not being represented. I think the saddest part, though, is just kids.
Good evening.
Hi, Board. I'm the coronavirus vaccine. It's so great to finally meet you. After months of being brewed in Pharma's kitchen, my birth is ready, and I'm coming out at warp speed. You've done your part so far. Keep at it. Just a few months longer. Then make your grand purchase of millions of mini-me's, the coronavirus vaccine, to shoot up everyone. Operation Warp Speed. $10 billion for 300 million doses by January. No time for safety studies, no time for efficacy. You need to get me out and into everyone. Warp Speed. You only get reimbursed of your allotted $18.4 million if you make all your purchases by the end of the year. So get the food trucks ready, slap an FDA sticker on them, and drive through the neighborhoods like the Blood Drive bus. Be mobile. Get these vaccines to the people at their door. Make it convenient, better than DoorDash. Talk it up. It's free and paid for by yours truly. Because after all, we care, don't we? It's called the CARES Act Fund. Let's not get careless now. Focus on the vaccine. Don't get sidetracked with other issues like child trafficking, a pandemic at an all-time high, the supply and demand industry that makes billions of dollars, and this area is a hotspot. The CARES Act will not cover this. But insist that you care about the children. Say it over and over and over like a mantra. They'll believe you, maybe. Focus on the now, the age of the coronavirus vaccine. It's 2020, not the year of hindsight, but the year of redefining words. Safe doesn't really mean safe anymore. Effective is most likely ineffective. Compliance is enforced by saying required, but wearing masks isn't really required. An order is painted to look like a law, but it's unlawful. Enforcement doesn't need law enforcement. Pandemic doesn't mean an actual worldwide outbreak. Being sick doesn't really mean showing symptoms. You can be sick asymptomatically. Vaccine hijacks the definition of cure. Liberty now means free to comply. Keep them fooled and scared of this deadly virus. Emphasize that it's deadly. It's deadly. Deadly. My vaccine is already the hero of this pandemic. It's just a matter of time before I live it out. Just tell the people it's only a vaccine. If you want the mass culture to die out, mandate it for the greater good, for herd immunity. Keep them blind and hateful. We can't let them remember love. That's too powerful and a real threat of terror. So make Bill Gates proud for the sake of his investment and the sake of eugenics. Show them who really cares. Act on it. And don't be careless. Be compliant. I'll see you really soon, Karen. I see you, Donnell. Mask today, vaccine tomorrow, evermore. Operation Warp Speed! Thank you.
Next speaker.
Hi, everybody.
Hi there.
Hey, Sheriff.
Share your name, please.
I am representing California Rifle Pistol Association today. That's my name.
Okay.
I was the one that presented the resolution a couple, 3 weeks ago or so. I hope you guys are making progress on that because we will be doing follow-up. I'm here to present almost 1,600 signatures, Shasta County residents in support of the Second Amendment resolution. It's 150 pages here. I know I'm supposed to give you 10 copies. I'm sorry. Not at 13 cents a piece. Okay, I'm not going to make 1,600 pages. So here's the copy of the original set. I have the original set. And if you could please add this to the resolution that we submitted to you 2 to 3 weeks ago. Any questions on that? Thank you. I know you're having a long day. I'm going to leave them here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Board. Good evening. Should I wait for Mr. Modi to come back?
I went to the restroom, we are.
Okay.
We have to do that.
I know, it's like you're human or something.
Imagine that.
I know, it's wild. Well, I'm your last speaker. Does that make a difference?
Okay.
Okay. I want to say thank you. First and foremost, you guys held out. It's been a long day, a long night. And thank you for having this evening meeting, for having the courage to do this and to hear your constituents. It means a lot. You have had a really trying time, and each and every one of you wants this county open. You've made that clear. And yet, week after week, we've asked for you to take an emergency vote to open the county, and no motion has been made. And we know why you haven't. We know that you were scared. You were scared of the virus just like we were. You were scared of the politics. You were scared of the repercussions, the effects it might have on us. You were scared of being the outlier fighting alone. You were scared of the consequences you might face and that we might face as a county. And so we all complied. You played the game. You supported the mandates in hopes that the compliance would gain back our liberties. I mean, it makes sense. Refill our county coffers. You thought that by following the rules, we would warp speed through those stages and open the county. But it wasn't so. The pressure has built, the goalposts have moved, and the stakes have been raised. Our kids are going to school with masks on. We now have a fractured community, and keeping the county closed has created an environment of harassment, favoritism, and worst of all, fear. Now is the time. You were deceived just like us, and for that you will receive forgiveness. But your inaction is no longer acceptable. Your oath supersedes any promise from the state. You were hired to secure our rights, and it's time to bear that burden. You got to open the county. And if you don't, our memories are long and our votes still count. And if you are no longer fit for this office, you are no longer fit for this office if you can't fulfill your oath. You guys, tonight was epic, historical maybe even. The people of Shasta County made their voices heard. These are your voters, your constituents. The first time I came here, I asked you to take an emergency vote and open the county. And I am coming to you again. Please hear your constituents, take an emergency vote, and open the county.
You got 47 seconds.
I wish you guys could respond. Just from my heart. This takes so much time and effort from your constituents. You guys are paid to be here. We're not. These are our businesses. These are our children. Where is the burden of responsibility? Where is the liability? And right now that just sits with you, and you understand how hard it is to be in the weight under that. And this is not the end. We've pointed that out. There's no end date on this.
Thank you, Alyssa, for coming.
It's up to you guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for being here. Have a good night.